Mystic Ice Island, the Ice Point sect. Compared to the mighty forces of myriad islands lake, such as the Dragonfish sect and the Curio Alliance, which boast 3 or more golden core cultivators, the Ice Point sect is merely a minor faction harboring a false core cultivator. The so-called false core represents a somewhat awkward realm. Some Foundation establishment cultivators, recognizing their mediocre aptitude or facing the twilight of their lifespan, or perhaps those grievously injured, their foundations compromised, find themselves unable to form a true golden core. In desperation, they either rely on secret techniques or the aid of a golden core cultivator to forcibly condense a false core. A false core cultivator surpasses a 9th level foundation builder by a significant margin, yet does not compare to a true golden core. Moreover, obtaining a false core does not extend one's lifespan. Most crucially, once a false core is formed, the cultivator can never hope to condense a golden core. Due to these limitations, many golden core cultivators hold false core cultivators in disdain. The Ice Point sect, led by such false core cultivators, is one such minor sect. It is said that the Ice Point sect possesses a secret technique that guarantees the formation of a false core. Any member who surpasses the age of 100 can easily condense a false core, ensuring that the sect always has more than 5 such cultivators. It is by this strength that the Ice Point sect manages to eke out an existence and stubbornly survive in Myriad Islands Lake. However, now, the Ice Point sect has been reduced to ruins. All 5 false core cultivators were slain by the nefarious black-heart old devil, who harvested and consumed their false cores. As for the Foundation establishment cultivators and chi refining disciples, they either perished or fled. The taste of a false core really doesn't compare to a golden core. It's not pleasant at all, Ouyang coldly snorted, ready to leave. Yet, he noticed a figure standing on the lake, 100 zhang away, observing him with great interest. Ouyang was startled, his spiritual sense had failed to detect the other's approach. Who was this person? With a light step on the lake surface, the figure rapidly approached, soon standing face to face with Ouyang. Recognizing the man, Ouyang's heart skipped a beat. It was indeed He Liang, the black-heart old devil. It seemed his own actions, taken under the guise of the black-heart old devil, had indeed alerted the genuine article. However, remembering the vial of poison given to him by the cloaked figure, specifically meant to harm body cultivators, Ouyang's mind steadied somewhat. Fully aware of your moves, what do you have to compete with me? Even you, the real black-heart old devil, shall fall today. You are who, seeking death as well? Ouyang sneered, his voice low and hoarse. Chu Xian responded with a light chuckle, I was merely curious to see who dared misuse my name so recklessly. Royal Road is the home of this novel. Visit there to read the original and support the author. So it was just a minor player from Myriad Islands Lake. With his mastery in the art of disguise, he immediately saw through the other's facade. Beneath the guise of He Liang was another face, one Chu Xian had already seen through the spiritual jade slip provided by Yuan Zichu. The 100 Refinements sect's ability to gather intelligence was unparalleled. The appearances, backgrounds, and signature techniques of all golden core cultivators in Myriad Islands Lake, whether seasoned or newly ascended, had been thoroughly documented by the sect. Chu Xian instantly recognized this man as Ouyang, the leader of the Righteous Tao sect. In that moment, he realized. The Righteous Tao sect and the Ouyang family had not been destroyed by him, yet the deed had been accredited to him. It appears that Ouyang himself had orchestrated the demise of his own kin and disciples, yet laid the blame at Chu Xian's feet. Truly detestable. And to think, he didn't even leave the corpses of the cultivators for him. Nonsense, you deserve death. Angered, Ouyang made his move. He charged forward, thrusting his long spear with explosive force. Chu Xian, surprised, noted that this man was also a body cultivator. No wonder he could replace him. The physique of a body cultivator, plump and juicy, perfect for nourishing corpse puppets. Chu Xian smiled and executed the fierce evil escape. In an instant, he moved from reacting to acting first, appearing right in front of Ouyang. The fierce evil escape, a technique learned from the second level of the Yin Thunder evil technique, wasn't particularly cost-effective. But as a golden core period escape technique, it was naturally faster than any evil escape from the Foundation establishment stage. For now, he would make do with this. Ouyang caught off guard, roared lowly and swiftly changed his attack, the spear crashing down furiously. Chu Xian scoffed coldly. A true body cultivator needs no weapons. His own body is the mightiest weapon. With a direct punch, he shattered Ouyang long spear. Unabated, his fist continued its trajectory, striking squarely against Ouyang's chest. With a crisp crack, Ouyang's inner armor disintegrated. His defensive magic treasure dimmed instantly, whining as it was flung away. Ouyang spurted fresh blood, hurled backward by dozens of feet. Panicked, he immediately attempted to flee. Chu Xian pursued relentlessly. In the blink of an eye, he closed the distance to within 10 feet. His fist, charged with boundless power, was poised to strike. Dare to pursue me? Die then. Ouyang's face twisted from fear to ferocity. He swung his hand fiercely, releasing a cloud of crimson poison powder that enveloped Chu Xian under the influence of spiritual qi. Ouyang's bizarre laughter echoed. He had tested the potency of this poison powder before. It didn't need to be inhaled. Merely touching the skin, it would penetrate the pores and impede the circulation of blood within the body. Since body cultivators utilize blood rather than spiritual energy, once the blood flow ceased, their formidable strength would find no outlet. Then, they would be at his mercy. However, a steadfast punch tore through the crimson poison, smashing directly into Ouyang's ghastly face. With a squelch, his head burst like a ripe melon. Before his headless body could fall, Chu Xian casually tossed it into the corpse-nurturing tower. The storage bag was swiftly attached to his waist. This entire process of killing and looting was all too familiar to Chu Xian. A mere 20-layer body cultivator dares to impersonate me. To impersonate me is one thing, but to then perform so poorly in battle, failing to kill his opponents and even letting them escape. And this poison, utterly useless. Chu Xian shook his head repeatedly. When it comes to poisons, he is the true master. The moment the crimson poison was dispersed, he had already neutralized it. Arriving at the Ice Point sect, he casually gathered all the corpses into the tower. Sir the novelfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Without turning around, he suddenly spoke in a chilling tone, "Stop hiding. Come out." All was silent around him. Beneath the surface of the lake, the cloaked figure was shocked. Did he see me? Or sense my presence? Impossible. Chu Xian remained stationary, hands clasped behind his back. Won't you come out? Must I make my move? The cloaked figure clenched his teeth. Could I really have been discovered? Impossible, he must be bluffing. Chu Xian smirked coldly, unsteady breath. Found you. He struck ferociously. 300 thunder seeds whistled through the air, swiftly engulfing the area where the cloaked figure hid. Thunder seed is imbued with both the essence of evil and the force of thunder. 300 of these beads whistled through the air simultaneously, sufficient to evaporate an entire body of water into steam. In an instant, vast clouds of steam rose from the area. A muffled groan was heard. The figure cloaked in black was forced to reveal himself. Damn it! So many thunder seeds. He was both shocked and enraged, compelled to continuously deploy escape techniques. Weaving through the continuously exploding beads, he dodged the terrifying damage. Yet even so, the massive net woven by the explosions of the 300 thunder seeds was immensely formidable. He might evade one, but not the next. The cloaked figure tried desperately to dodge, ultimately forced to activate his defensive magic treasure to block the attacks. Despite his efforts, he still sustained numerous wounds. However, using the rebounding force of the thunder seeds, he successfully increased the distance. He burst out of the deadly net created by the interweaving thunder seeds. Chu Xian raised an eyebrow. Impressive. The simultaneous explosion of 300 thunder seeds could seriously injure even a late-stage golden core cultivator. Yet, this person had managed to escape with his life. Chu Xian stomped the ground, ready to advance and attack with full force. However, as he took a step forward, the water beneath him suddenly transformed into formidable frost. In an instant, his feet were frozen. And the frost didn't stop there. It continued to climb, aiming to encase his entire body in ice. Chu Xian's expression shifted slightly. He burst forth the strength from his legs, shattering the frost and hastily retreating. Yet, the frost pursued like a python, relentlessly coiling around him. Chu Xian frowned. Instantly, a black iron shield and a goldwood shield flew from his body, attempting to block the assault. With a crack, both shields were frozen by the frost and shattered into pieces on the spot. Using the rebounding force of the explosion, Chu Xian instantly escaped over 60 feet away, well beyond the reach of the frost attack. He was not sentimental about the loss. The two items were merely high-grade magic tools. Their destruction was inconsequential as long as he remained unharmed. However, he was surprised that the opponent had prearranged a formation, almost causing him to fall into a trap. It seemed he was facing a fellow cultivator. Chu Xian and the cloaked figure stared at each other across the distance, each displaying a wariness. The cloaked figure, eyeing the familiar black iron shield, gave a flicker of recognition. He spoke softly, "Since we're both cultivators of the demonic path, why not reveal your sect? This story has been taken without authorization. Report any sightings." Chu Xian frowned. "Nonsense, how am I a demonic cultivator? You look more like a demonic cultivator. Your entire family are demonic cultivators." The cloaked figure was irked. Both being sly as millennia-old foxes, such trivial deceits were pointless. Suppressing his anger, he pointed to the shattered remnants of the black iron shield. "That was the defensive magic tool I used back when I was a Foundation establishment cultivator. I remember it well." Chu Xian scratched his head, puzzled for a moment before tentatively asking, "Master?" The cloaked figure sneered, "Master was nearly killed by you, you treacherous disciple." Chu Xian coughed slightly. "My master came to Myriad Islands Lake years ago in search of opportunities and vanished without a trace. I have been searching for him here for a long time, yet you suddenly appears now. How can you prove you are my master, Wan Wuying?" The cloaked figure responded coldly, "I went to the underground ruins in the Misty Mountains, to the ghost palace of the Nether Dao sect. I was the one who told you about it." Chu Xian raised an eyebrow, "But few who went to the ghost palace came back alive." The cloaked figure removed his cloak, revealing a grotesque and unfamiliar face. It looked abnormal, as if it were sewn together from two different people. Chu Xian felt an eerie chill. The cloaked figure sighed deeply. "At that time, only 3 golden core cultivators from the Divine Star sect made it out alive, and I seized the body of one of them." Chu Xian raised his eyebrows in surprise. "Quite the revelation." Wan Wuying continued, "My soul does not match this body well, which is why my face has become like this. Now you should be sure, my good disciple, Chu Xian." Chu Xian laughed heartily. "Master, if I had recognized you without any hesitation or doubt, that would have truly belied the lessons you taught me, right?" Wan Wuying snorted, "That's true indeed. A stranger claiming to be a long-dead master and appearing so suddenly, if he had believed it immediately, that would have been a disservice to his years of training as a demonic cultivator. Sir, the novel, F.ir.at website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality." "Master, let's find a new place to talk," Chu Xian whispered. "Agreed," Wan Wuying nodded. Moments later, they arrived at Gale Island. This island, poor in spiritual chi, rarely attracted cultivators, making it an ideal place for a heartfelt reunion. "Master, I've missed you terribly," Chu Xian exclaimed with great emotion. Wan Wuying waved his hand dismissively, "Oh, knock it off. If you really missed me, you would have gone to the ghost palace to find me. You never went once." Chu Xian spread his hands. "If I died, wouldn't the legacy of the extreme cape be lost?" Wan Wuying was silent, observing Chu Xian closely. He felt a mix of sentimentality, relief, and complexity. Now that you are also a golden core cultivator, you need not call me master anymore. My master is the 9 profound true master. Consider me as a stand-in master. From now on, call me senior brother. Chu Xian was surprised. True master? This term was usually reserved for deity transformation cultivators. Was Wan Wuying's master a formidable deity transformation cultivator? After further conversation, Chu Xian learned that Wan Wuying and Jiao Xian were not truly master and disciple. 9 Profound, a roving cultivator, had encountered Wan Wuying, then a 9th-level foundation establishment cultivator, and casually imparted a few insights that had opened Wan Wuying's mind. 9 Profound had stated that if Wan Wuying could break through to the golden core stage within 2 years, it would prove his aptitude was sufficient to join the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace in Central Continent. Unfortunately, Wan Wuying was attacked by enemies during his advancement, leading to years of recovery and missing the opportunity. If anything, Wan Wuying was more like an honorary disciple of the venerable 9 Profound True Master. At this moment, Wan Wuying was filled with a mix of emotions. He hadn't expected that his former disciple would now be a cultivator of the same rank. The two continued their conversation, sharing the events of the past years. Of course, Chu Xian knew that Wan Wuying must have had his secrets to have survived the Ghost Palace, and Wan Wuying understood that Chu Xian must have encountered his own unique fortunes to have reached the Golden Core realm. Much was left unsaid, as both understood each other's journeys well enough. Chu Xian inquired, "Senior brother, how did you end up at Myriad Islands Lake, and how did you come to collaborate with Ouyang Jing?" Wan Wuying sighed deeply, "My lifespan has greatly diminished. Now, the only way to survive is to quickly advance my cultivation and attempt to reach the nascent soul stage. I wanted to obtain the qualifications to enter the extraterritorial battlefield and seek out nascent soul spiritual items, which led me to cooperate with Ouyang Jing. But Ouyang Jing's strength was insufficient, not making him an ideal partner. I had earlier noticed that you wield demonic methods and possess formidable strength, making you a suitable partner. That's why I set up today's situation." Who would have thought, heh? Wan Wuying's cheeks reddened slightly. He had almost been outwitted by his former disciple, nearly suffering significant harm. Such an embarrassment to admit. Chu Xian raised an eyebrow. The qualification to enter the extraterritorial battlefield? That sounded intriguing. He expressed his interest. "Senior brother, please elaborate on how to obtain this qualification." Wan Wuying spoke gravely, "In a year, the extraterritorial battlefield will open. The upper sect will distribute 1,000 tokens across various locations on Mystic Azure Star. Search the novel, F.ir. at website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The Feather Transformation Heaven Palace, as the overlord of Mystic Azure Star, can select cultivators to enter the battlefield without needing a token. For us loose cultivators, seizing a token allows entry. Otherwise, one must acquire rare heavenly materials and treasures that catch the upper sect's eye to gain entry." Chu Xian, puzzled, asked, "What is this upper sect?" Wan Wuying's eyes gleamed with aspiration. "Feather Transformation Heaven Palace is a 5th-level cultivation sect controlling Mystic Azure Star. Above it is the 6th-level Reincarnation Divine Church, which governs over a dozen cultivation stars. A 6th-level cultivation sect is a colossal organization that boasts astral projection stage powerhouses." Chu Xian was taken aback. A 6th-level cultivation sect controlling over a dozen stars? Truly formidable. "Senior brother, do you know what conditions are like on the extraterritorial battlefield?" Chu Xian inquired further. Wan Wuying shook his head. "The last time the extraterritorial battlefield was opened was 500 years ago, during the chaotic collapse of the Nether Dao sect. I have never entered, but I know it is a perilous treasure trove. The battlefield features sudden spatial rifts and void winds, ancient beasts that can destroy and devour everything. There are also corpses of nascent soul, deity transformation, and even higher realm cultivators, various ancient spiritual items, and ancient legacies. Us Golden Core cultivators qualify only for the least dangerous parts of the extraterritorial battlefield. Our task is merely to clean up the aftermath. Wan Wuying sighed deeply. In summary, it's a place of both risk and opportunity. Many cultivators want to take a chance to venture into the extraterritorial battlefield. Chu Xian listened intently. It truly sounded like an appealing place. As he contemplated advancing from Golden Core to the nascent soul stage, it seemed inevitable that he would need to brave the battlefield. Moreover, his path as a body cultivator had reached its limit. Given that the battlefield held many lost ancient techniques and legacies, he might find one or two suitable body cultivation methods there. Chu Xian pondered another aspect. Mystic Azure Star is vast, with 1,000 tokens scattered around. Isn't it like finding a needle in a haystack? Wan Wuying chuckled mischievously. Such rules have been passed down for countless millennia, and our predecessors have already summarized methods to obtain these tokens. The simplest method is to buy a token from a disciple of the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace. Unauthorized usage. This narrative is on Amazon without the author's consent. Report any sightings. Chu Xian, puzzled, asked, buy? Wan Wuying nodded. The upper sect grants 1,000 tokens to be distributed randomly by the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace. The higher-ups in the palace might act fairly, but the actual distribution is handled by the lower ranks. And are those disciples as fair? No. They will not act fairly. They need resources for cultivation. Such token distribution is exactly the kind of power they would leverage for personal gain. Chu Xian raised an eyebrow. Indeed, that made sense. Deity transformation cultivators and nascent soul cultivators would hardly bother with such mundane matters. They would be focused on advancing to higher realms. Such duties would fall to lesser individuals. Any small figure with a bit of authority would inevitably think of profiting from it. This hinted at another method of obtaining a token. Sensing the change in Chu Xian's expression, Wan Wuying grinned wickedly. Correct, robbing Feather Transformation Heaven Palace disciples is also a way to get a token. Such an act might have been difficult in the past, but now there is an excellent opportunity. Chu Xian's eyes flashed. I understand. Senior brother wants to take advantage of the chaos in the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace to fish in troubled waters. Wan Wuying laughed heartily. Exactly. You must have heard about the situation with Xianxia. Chu Xian nodded. Wan Wuying continued gravely. I believe Xianxia is also eyeing the extraterritorial battlefield. Once it opens, he will surely act, stirring up the great situation on Mystic Azure Star. We can take advantage of the chaos to snatch what we want. After speaking, he sighed deeply. Xianxia caused me to lose my physical body, reducing me to this state. I can't avenge this grudge, alas. Chu Xian sighed softly. Apart from expressing sympathy, there wasn't much else he could say. Wan Wuying added, with some time left before the extraterritorial battlefield opens, I need to find a place to retreat and cultivate to boost my strength. What about you? Chu Xian nodded. I plan to do the same. However, I need your help with something. He casually mentioned his plan. Wan Wuying listened with surprise but nodded. All right, I'll help you. A month later, Chu Xian arrived at the listening rain number, his brow deeply furrowed. Yuan Zichu followed closely behind, equally indignant. It's truly detestable. This person has been masquerading as fellow Daoist he, committing rampant murders. The worst part is the number of treasures he's stolen. That's utterly reprehensible. Chu Xian nodded solemnly, responding coolly, fellow Daoist Yuan, you oversee the treasure ship market, all news from Myriad Islands Lake converges here. Please keep an eye out for this impostor for me. Should he surface again, I will personally intervene to erase him. Yuan Zichu nodded vigorously, rest assured, fellow Daoist. After Chu Xian departed, Zhu Yuqiao appeared. She spoke with palpable relief. Fellow Daoist he being impersonated seemed extremely angry. It's my first time seeing him like this. Yuan Zichu shook his head. He's not angry about the impersonation. Zhu Yuqiao looked puzzled. Then what is it? Yuan Zichu spoke quietly. He's angry because the treasures that should have been his were stolen by that counterfeit. Zhu Yuqiao was taken aback. Yuan Zichu reached out to hold Zhu Yuqiao's slender fingers. The impostor is very powerful, stronger than any of us, and he stops at nothing. Only He Liang can deal with him. Yuqiao, don't go out during this time. I'll notify the others to keep an eye out for the impostor. Zhu Yuqiao blushed slightly. Thank you, Zichu. Yuan Zichu smiled. Shall we delve deeper into the study of arrays? Should we go to your cave or mine? Zhu Yuqiao's cheeks flushed deeper. Let's go to yours. I fear my spouse might find out. Alright, Yuan Zichu said, taking Zhu Yuqiao with him. Half a month later. Yuan Zichu received word that the impostor had appeared again and immediately notified Chu Xian. Everyone stay out of this, I want to capture that impostor alive. Doesn't he know that I always cultivate virtue? Daring to impersonate me and commit murders, ruining my reputation. Chu Xian roared, mounting the imperial sky mirror and vanishing in the blink of an eye, disappearing from Yuan Zichu and Zhu Yuqiao's sight. Zhu Yuqiao scoffed slightly. With his strength, he will surely defeat the impostor decisively. He just doesn't want us to share in the spoils. Yuan Zichu expressed concern. That's not necessarily true. The impostor is very powerful, even fellow Daoist Xiao Ben nearly died at his hands. Fellow Daoist he, Chapter 164, Those who cannot withstand testing are unfit as partners plus, turn off reset. Atop the ruins of a sect, Chu Xian and the impostor met, and a fierce battle ensued immediately upon their encounter. They fought from sunrise to sunset, from the eastern islands to the western ones. Ultimately, Chu Xian fell victim to a trap set by the impostor, stepping into a prearranged array that dealt him a severe blow. After tumbling into the lake, he completely disappeared. Yuan Zichu, Zhu Yuqiao, Zhao Ben, and other cultivators mobilized a large number of foundation establishment and qi refining cultivators to search extensively. Despite their efforts, they were unable to find Chu Xian's body. In the treasure ship market, a gathering of golden core cultivators displayed a range of expressions. Some were reflective, others regretful, some smug, and a few disdainful. Yuan Zichu was among those who felt regret. Even though He Liang had used some demonic techniques and had shattered his defensive measures upon their first meeting, Yuan had always felt that he was a person worth befriending. It was unfortunate that he had now likely perished at the hands of an impostor. Those who were smug or disdainful were the ones who had long envied Chu Xian. They felt that he had killed too many cultivators from Myriad Island's lake and stolen treasures that should have belonged to them. They harbored grievances against Chu Xian and were secretly pleased at the prospect of his probable death. Yuan Zichu spoke solemnly. I propose to report the disappearance of fellow Daoist He and request that a new golden core fellow Daoist be sent to Myriad Island's lake. What are your thoughts? No objections, everyone nodded in agreement. Very well, I shall report as such, Yuan Zichu affirmed. In the midst of the 100 refinement sect's golden core cultivators discussing important matters, Chu Xian and Wan Wuying were already toasting under the moonlight. Junior brother, that was quite a fierce performance. I almost thought you were serious, Wan Wuying commented while sipping wine and popping pills. Chu Xian chuckled, how else to make them believe? The impostor Ouyang Jing was already dead. The current impostor was naturally Wan Wuying. The daytime battle was not only a show for Yuan Zichu and others to gauge but also for Wan Wuying to see. Chu Xian was testing whether Wan Wuying was genuinely cooperating with him. After all, both were cultivators of the demonic path, and a true alliance or cooperation is never truly part of a demonic cultivator's dictionary. Partners? As long as there was enough benefit, partners could always be betrayed. Chu Xian's cooperation with Wan Wuying was based solely on the latter's strength and their years of mentorship. He was not foolish enough to consider Wan Wuying a senior brother to depend on for life and death. Individuals like Lu Zhenxiong were indeed very rare. Let's drink this cup and then part ways for now, Wan Wuying smiled, raising his glass and pausing momentarily. Junior brother, why the poison, though? There really was no need for that between senior and junior brothers. Chu Xian also raised his glass and replied with a smile, then senior brother also had no need to put a charm in the wine. It was merely an exchange of courtesies, he added. If you spot this story on Amazon, know that it has been stolen. Report the violation. The two looked at each other and burst out laughing. Testing each other was a constant reality. Those who couldn't withstand testing did not deserve to be partners. Taking advantage of the night, Chu Xian quickly escaped. He removed his disguise, reverting to his original appearance, and soon found a secluded island. After setting up a cave dwelling and arranging the arrays, he quickly returned to Blue Star. During Chu Xian's time in Myriad Islands Lake, the situation on Blue Star had been prospering. His army of undead had swept across the continents. The destruction of the Suanzi country's government had also spread across all the lands. Amid the global dominance of Blue Star under Chu Xian's command, the intricate operations of his zombie and goo forces continued to escalate. The parasitic seeds, controlling giant apes, conquered the Harsha dynasty, eliminating the royal family and securing the third fragment of the psionic cube. Meanwhile, the zombie empress's newly developed assault-type corpse ships penetrated the territories of the Freedom Alliance and the Arctic Army. Within a subterranean base controlled by the Freedom Alliance, they discovered the fourth fragment of the psionic cube. The zombie armies also unearthed that Science City was intricately connected to the Freedom Alliance. Before the psionic revival, the Freedom Alliance had secretly sent the city lord to the Han country to establish Science City. As for the Holy Light Theocracy, they didn't wait for the zombie army to reach their doors. Instead, they proactively submitted to Chu Xian's forces, offering the fifth fragment of the psionic cube. Chu Xian lounged on a plush velvet recliner, intrigued by the nearly complete psionic cube. Even though Blue Star was almost unified, the final piece of the cube was still missing. Chu Xian had dispersed his zombie armies globally to watch for any signs of the last fragment. The idle psionic cube rapidly facilitated the growth of flesh and blood, although, unfortunately, Chu Xian no longer had a use for body cultivation techniques. On the other hand, the blood beehives produced vast quantities of blood honey, bulking up the bees to nearly the size of half a fist. Under the massive infusion of blood honey, the queen bee's realm soared, advancing into the rank of a third-stage goo. Besides the worker bees, soldier bees, and venom bees, a new type of bee was unlocked, the fire bee. Similar to the venom bee, which has a venom sac for storing toxins, the fire bee possesses a unique flame sac that stores fire, which can be expelled when necessary. For Chu Xian, the venom bees and fire bees were much more useful than the soldier bees. The former could store various poisons he concocted, and the latter could even hold the corpse refining blood fire. In battle, dispersing venom and fire bees could potentially have a surprising effect. CTHNovelFire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. It's a pity that the corpse refining blood fire has not yet advanced to spawn the blood eviling fire, Chu Xian mused. Perhaps it's not burning enough. He signaled the zombie matriarch and zombie empress to ramp up production. The wild zombies outside had grown wiser, and ultrasonic calls no longer lured the higher intelligence zombies. Fortunately, Chu Xian still had the zombie matriarch and zombie empress, who were akin to living zombie production factories. Increasing production merely required more large blood pearls, allowing for a self-sustaining cycle of production and combustion. On the secluded isle of Myriad Islands Lake, a diminutive nascent soul cultivator fled in terror. He cried out, his voice both fierce and desperate, Shang Tianjue. Dare to slay me, and the feather transformation heaven palace will soon be upon you. Your end is nigh. If you spare my life, we can both step back and perhaps. But Shang Tianjue, relentless in pursuit, paid no heed to his plea. A mass of dark qi transformed into a gargantuan maw that eclipsed the sky, devouring the fleeing nascent soul in one fell swoop. Chewing thoughtfully a few times, Shang Tianjue swallowed contentedly. Another nascent soul consumed, and now I've reached the mid-nascent soul stage. Even the feather transformation heaven palace, obtuse as they are, must realize by now that the burning heaven sect is no more. They will make their move. The extraterritorial battlefield is about to open. Mystic Azure Star shall soon be thrown into turmoil. Shang Tianjue laughed heartily, his gaze alight with relentless determination and madness. In the heart of the central continent floated a colossal island. This island, known as Feather Transformation Island, was the very gate of the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace. It was a mighty testament to the deity transformation cultivator's power, a whole mountain range uprooted and encircled with formidable arrays. For every disciple of the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace, it was an honor to ascend to Feather Transformation Island, for it was the true center of power within the palace. At this moment, within the Grand Council Hall of Feather Transformation Island, a voice thundered in anger. 3 years. A full 3 years. And only now you learn of Xianxia's emergence in the southern wilderness. Chapter 165, Feather Transformation Heaven Palace Attack Plus, Turn Off Reset. In the opulent council hall, an elderly man with the bearing of an immortal stood upon the steps. Below him knelt 5 middle-aged individuals. The scathing rebuke had erupted from the elder. The 4 middle-aged men bowed their heads in silence, but one ventured softly, "Ancestor, we have been diligently searching for Xianxia's whereabouts, which led us to overlook Xianxia. As for the Heavenly Patrol Mirror, it is routine to communicate with the other 4 continents only once every decade." The elder snapped coldly, "So you caught the sesame seeds but lost the watermelon? Moreover, you haven't even caught Xianxia, just traces of him. I truly was mistaken to entrust the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace to you all. All you think about day and night is vying for power and grabbing benefits. Why not consider uniting to produce another deity transformation cultivator? If there is no new deity transformation cultivator after I pass, what will become of our Feather Transformation Heaven Palace? I have come to realize that the real threat to the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace is not from outside, not from other sects, but right here on Feather Transformation Island, among my own direct disciples. It has been only a few years since the collapse of the Nether Dao sect. Have you forgotten? The gaping pit that was once their ancestral ground still stares at you every day." The 5 middle-aged men remained silent once more, neither daring to look at each other nor raise their heads, merely enduring the tirade. After a long vent, the elder's mood slightly eased. "Act now. Travel to the southern wilderness via the ancient teleportation array and capture Xianxia. I will tolerate no mistakes this time. Whoever accomplishes this, I will appoint him as the master of the palace." The 5 middle-aged men's eyes lit up as they rose to their feet, declaring in unison, "Please rest assured, Master, we shall fulfill this mission without dishonor." The elder then tossed out a storage bag. "This contains the tokens bestowed by the upper sect. Make arrangements for these tokens as well. We must act fairly, each of the 5 continents must receive 200 tokens." The 5 men responded respectfully, "We understand." After they departed, the elder sighed deeply. Xianxia has already appeared, but what of Xianxia? Will the prophecy become reality? Will our Feather Transformation Heaven Palace fall at the hands of them? In the mystical realm of southern wilderness within the kingdom of Yu, while mortals and low-level cultivators were still lost in slumber, disciples from the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace arrived through the ancient teleportation arrays. Nascent Soul, Golden Core, Foundation Establishment, a myriad of cultivators congregated in the sky, resembling celestial warriors. A commanding middle-aged man surged with spiritual chi, his voice rolling out majestically. "By the elder's decree, the 100 Refinement sect, despite knowing the palace's command, still chose to aid Xianxia. All elders and disciples of the 100 Refinement sect are to be executed." The disciples of the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace responded in unison, "Yes." Their voices thundered like a clap of sky-shattering thunder, startling demonic beasts in all directions into a frenzied escape. If you encounter this narrative on Amazon, note that it's taken without the author's consent. Report it. From Yen Kingdom, Yu Kingdom, to Myriad Islands Lake, figures from the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace appeared at various ancient teleportation arrays. Each team was led by a nascent soul cultivator. The nascent soul cultivators of other sects were no match for those of the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that a single nascent soul cultivator from the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace could single-handedly take on 2 average nascent soul cultivators. Wherever these disciples passed, the cultivators of the 100 Refinement sect had no power to retaliate and were quickly slain. The cultivators of the 100 Refinement sect, unwilling to accept their fate, were compelled to resist. This sparked a great battle, leaving devastation in its wake, a scene of widespread misery and destruction. Chu Xian and Wan Wuying, in perfect accord, did not appear immediately. Instead, they waited for that man. To seize the chestnuts from the fire, one must act at the most crucial moment. To enter too early would be to court disaster. At original Dao peak of the 100 Refinement sect, four formidable armies from the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace converged from different directions, gathering with potent force. Meanwhile, the 5th contingent was trapped by a prearranged array by Miao Zizai in Yu country, unable to break through. Four middle-aged cultivators hovered in the air, each radiating an aura that was earth-shaking, all at the late stage of nascent soul. Atop original Dao peak stood only one man, Shang Tianjue. The 5 exchanged glances across the expanse, with only the grand array of the 100 Refinements sect separating them. The tall middle-aged man spoke calmly, Shang Tianjue, surrender now. You alone have turned Mystic Azure Star upside down, causing the deaths of countless souls. You must be punished. Another added, all deity transformation cultivators of your Nether Dao sect fell on the battlefield beyond, it should have crumbled long ago. Shang Tianjue, you should not dream of reviving a dead sect. Shang Tianjue, standing at the summit of original Dao peak, burst into laughter. 500 years ago, when I was slaughtering far and wide, you four were but Foundation Establishment juniors. Now you dare to stand before me, issuing orders. How the years embolden the foolish. The third middle-aged man scoffed, Shang Tianjue, you only dare to boast because of the sect's grand formation. Once we break this formation, let's see how arrogant you can remain. A sect's grand array is its lifeline. If unattended, a static formation might be broken with brute force. However, a dynamic formation, continuously altered by a skilled formation master holding the formation plate and flags, is exceedingly difficult to assault. Provided with enough spirit stones, a formation master could potentially hold off 5 or 6 cultivators of the same realm for years. CTH novel, F. IR.at website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Shang Tianjue laughed wildly, do you think I'd fall for such crude provocation? Within this gate, I have gathered 46 Golden Core Formation Masters and 1 Nascent Soul Formation Master from 3 countries. To break through this 8 directions immutable array, you'll need numerous array-breaking talismans. Of course, if you wish to waste a Grand Prohibition talisman, be my guest, ha ha ha. Talismans for breaking arrays are extremely rare and vary greatly in power. The lowest level is the array-breaking talisman, capable of breaking Foundation Establishment stage arrays. Above that is the Grand Array-breaking talisman for Golden Core arrays. Next are the Prohibition talismans for Nascent Soul arrays, and the highest are the Grand Prohibition talismans for Deity Transformation arrays. Indeed, within the entire Mystic Azure Star, only the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace possessed Deity Transformation stage arrays. And none had the courage or the power to challenge the grand arrays of the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace with a Grand Prohibition talisman. The 4 cultivators shared a cold laugh as numerous Prohibition talismans tore through the sky. The Feather Transformation Heaven Palace lacked for nothing if not for its deep foundations and wealth. Boom. 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 The Prohibition talismans bombarded the Grand Formation relentlessly. Pressured by the imminent threat of Shang Tianjue's wrath, the formation masters atop original Dao Peak had no choice but to serve him. Within moments, 4 Golden Core Formation Masters were spitting blood. The leading Nascent Soul Formation Master was Miao Zizai. He, too, was sweating profusely, barely holding on. I, Shang Tianjue, may not control arrays, but Master Miao does. Anyone daring to betray me will be killed. Shang Tianjue's gaze swept over one individual, his fist thundered down and smashed a Golden Core Formation Master who had dared a slight deception into a pulp. The remaining Formation Masters trembled, daring not to act out of line. Shang Tianjue stood with his hands behind his back, floating in the air. His expression remained unchanged. His eyes, deep and inscrutable, seemed not to focus on the present location but were instead fixed on the distant central continent. Outside the grand formation of the 100 Refinement Sect's mountain gate, 4 middle-aged men conversed in hushed tones. Spirit Feather True Master's 4th disciple spoke gravely. Xianxia seems to be stalling. What is he scheming? Could it be that he's buying time for Xianxia? The 3rd disciple shook his head. Impossible. Have you forgotten the relationship between Xianxia and Xianxia? Half-brothers with the same father, they've always been arch-rivals within the Nether Dao sect. The 2nd disciple calmly added, exactly. Xianxia and Xianxia have been at odds for years. The Golden Core elders of the Nether Dao sect took sides because of their disputes. On several occasions, Xianxia even grievously wounded Xianxia, nearly killing him. The eldest disciple then said, Xianxia is heartless and ruthless, willing to forsake everything for supreme power. He killed his disciple just for speaking respectfully to Xianxia. He killed his master because the master refused to impart the secret techniques of the Nether. He even killed his father to access the ancestral lands. How could such a tyrannical and merciless man delay time here for a half-brother? The other 3 nodded in agreement. Eldest senior brother is right. Xianxia is not a benevolent man. If he's stalling, it's not for Xianxia. The eldest disciple scoffed. What else could it be but for access to the battlefield beyond realms? He wants to secure a place in the extraterritorial battlefield to escape. The 2nd disciple suddenly said, but even if he obtains the token, what then? To reach the extraterritorial battlefield, one must use the ancient teleportation arrays controlled by our feather transformation heaven palace. And the scattered teleportation arrays outside are almost all destroyed by our palace. How is he planning to reach the battlefield? The rest fell silent. Indeed. How would he go? Could it be that Xianxia's intentions lie elsewhere? Is his true goal to avenge the Nether Dao sect and overthrow the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace? But that doesn't make sense either. With Spirit Feather True Master, a deity transformation cultivator, in command, who could possibly destroy the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace? The 4 exchanged glances, shaking their heads. It was incomprehensible. Unpredictable. And they were too weary to speculate further. Once the 8 directions immutable array was broken, and Xianxia captured alive, the true essence of his schemes would be unveiled by the hands of Spirit Feather True Master himself, through the art of soul searching. In the blink of an eye, such battles had persisted for half a year. Each day, 4 nascent soul cultivators from the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace would cast numerous array-breaking talismans, assailing the 8 directions immutable array. Once radiant with golden light and a mist of treasures, the array now lay dim and lightless. The 46 golden core cultivators trapped within were withered in appearance. More than half had depleted their spiritual consciousness and lay on the ground, their fates unknown. This novel is published on a different platform. Support the original author by finding the official source. Meow's eyes frame had noticeably shrunk. Her soul was equally exhausted. Yet, the formation remained unbroken. The 4 middle-aged men looked at each other in silence. One of the disciples coughed lightly. It's been half a year, and we still haven't brought him back. This is getting hard to justify. Ah, if only I had a grand prohibition talisman, I'd use it. What about you 3? The 2nd disciple nodded. Indeed, it's hard to explain our failure. Whoever has a grand prohibition talisman should break the array, and we'll all join forces. 3rd junior brother, I remember you have a grand prohibition talisman. Why not contribute one? The 3rd disciple furrowed his brow. 2nd senior brother, where did you hear such rumors? Such rare talismans are not something I possess. However, I did hear that our 2nd senior brother spent a great sum to acquire one from the black market. The 2nd disciple snapped, stop spouting nonsense. The eldest disciple sighed deeply. At such a critical moment, are we still going to bicker over personal gains? The trio turned their gaze toward him. Eldest senior brother, you are the most senior among us, with profound resources. surely the use of 1 grand prohibition talisman wouldn't hurt. The eldest disciple stroked his beard. Let's wait a bit longer. The formation's breach is imminent, there's no need to waste a powerful talisman. The eldest, second, and third disciples tacitly remained silent thereafter. The fourth disciple dared to speak out because he truly did not possess such a talisman. And they remained silent because they indeed had one. Feather Transformation Island. A handsome young man hurried along the corridors between palaces. He greeted every cultivator he encountered, regardless of their cultivation level, always wearing a warm smile. 2 female cultivators blushed as he passed. Once the handsome young man had departed, they whispered among themselves. Is that Xianxia, the one even the old ancestor has praised endlessly? I never imagined someone so gifted could also be so handsome. I'd love to be his Dao partner. Forget it, many fairies have already approached him hoping to become his Dao partner, but senior brother Chen has turned them all down. Senior brother Chen is truly devoted to the immortal path, forsaking even the 7 emotions and 6 desires. I wonder which woman will eventually benefit from his indifference. Certainly not us. Meanwhile, Xianxia advanced to Golden Dragon Peak, where since his emergence from seclusion, Spirit Feather True Master, the deity transformation ancestor of Feather Transformation Heaven Palace resided. True Master, Xianxia has distributed the 200 tokens in Western Land and has now returned to report. Xianxia bowed respectfully outside a modest hut. A gentle voice emerged from within, well done. If only my disciples could emulate your detachment and tranquility, the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace wouldn't be mired in such turbidity, alas. Xianxia hurriedly responded, True Master, you are mistaken. The 5 uncle masters have poured their hearts into the palace, you only see one side of things. Xianxia the Nefire.at website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Spirit Feather True Master waved it off, enough, let's not speak of them. Go now, do not delay your cultivation. I look forward to the day you step onto the nascent soul path. Thank you for your profound kindness, True Master. Xianxia said gravely, then respectfully departed. Spirit Feather True Master sighed deeply, this child possesses excellent talents, disposition, and character. Perhaps I should invest more in him, alas, those 5 might harbor ill will towards this young man. Just then, the sky split open dramatically. A formidable, majestic aura descended from the heavens as if it could obliterate all living beings on the planet. The cultivators on Feather Transformation Island were utterly terrified, and clueless about what was happening. They only sensed the arrival of a terrifyingly powerful being. Spirit Feather True Master's face paled, and he flew out of his hut, shouting, Greetings to the envoy from the upper sect. A disgruntled voice boomed like thunder, Xianxia, what is causing your delay on Mystic Azure Star? The extraterritorial battlefield will close in a month. Send the people through immediately. Yes. Xianxia replied, sweating profusely. The intense presence vanished in the blink of an eye. Anger surged on Spirit Feather True Master's face. These wretched 5, they've still not brought the people back after half a year. Must I personally intervene? His eyes glinted coldly as he stepped forward, disappearing into the horizon in an instant. Chapter 167, Itching as if growing a brain plus, turn off reset. Elsewhere. Xianxia, struck by fear, slowly straightened his body. Leaving Golden Dragon Peak, he headed south. High above, a pair of eyes watched him. A faint, barely detectable streak of spiritual light shot through the air, ultimately entering Xianxia's mind. CTHNovelFire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. He sighed softly, my debts of gratitude are now repaid. Young one, I hope you succeed. Xianxia suddenly froze in place for a long time. What was I supposed to do? Right, I need to cultivate. Wait, am I supposed to cultivate? No, it seems I need to find a blue lotus. As Xianxia walked, he suddenly felt an itch in his head, as if something was about to sprout. It was incredibly itchy. It felt as if a brain was about to grow. Who am I? My name is Xianxia. Is my real name Xianxia? No. My name is Xianxia. I am the second young master of the Nether Dao sect. I need to find the turbid world Blue Lotus. Xianxia lifted his head again. A strange light flickered in his eyes. The memories of days past, they all came rushing back. Shang Tianjue had revived by possessing a body, while his soul was divided and hidden among the descendants of the Qin family, only to be awakened now. Only this strategy could deceive Spirit Feather True Master and allow him to hide on Feather Transformation Island. No one would have guessed that Xianxia had long been on Feather Transformation Island, right at the heart of Feather Transformation Heaven Palace. Now that Spirit Feather True Master has gone to the southern wilderness, it means Shang Tianjue has already bought enough time. Xianxia mused softly, Shang Tianjue, brother, doing this, you might die. If you were gone, who would I spar with? He wasted no time and immediately headed towards the underground of Feather Transformation Island. The turbid world Blue Lotus was a primordial spirit object of a planet, a perfect material for crafting spiritual treasures. It could also help late-stage astral projection cultivators break through their limits without hindrance, reaching higher realms. Nearly all of a planet's primordial spirit objects had been claimed by the Reincarnation Divine Church. Naturally, the turbid world Blue Lotus of Mystic Azure Star was no exception. However, the Church's cultivators did not realize that the spirit object of Mystic Azure Star was the rare twin turbid world Blue Lotus. Spirit Feather True Master had secretly kept it, hoping to use it to break through to the astral projection stage. This would elevate Feather Transformation Heaven Palace to a 6th-level cultivation sect. Not only would this bring a wealth of cultivation resources as rewards, but it would also break the shackles of the Reincarnation Divine Church. Moreover, according to the rules, when a 5th-level cultivation sect ascends to 6th level, the original sect leader cannot interfere with it for 3,000 years. This span of 3,000 years would allow Feather Transformation Heaven Palace to grow securely. A case of theft. This story is not rightfully on Amazon. If you spot it, report the violation. After 3,000 years, even if Feather Transformation Heaven Palace could not match the Reincarnation Divine Church, it would be close enough that the Church would have to carefully weigh the pros and cons before acting against them. Underground on Feather Transformation Island. This place had never been visited by anyone. Spirit Feather True Master had told no one because the Reincarnation Divine Church would never tolerate such a thing. If exposed, the fate of Feather Transformation Heaven Palace would be grim. The Church might not act directly, but as a mighty 6th-level cultivation sect, they had many ways to punish Feather Transformation Heaven Palace. Xianxia knew the hiding place of the turbid world Blue Lotus because he had accidentally discovered it during a life-and-death struggle with Shang Tianjue years ago. Both had tacitly decided not to report it, keeping it secret in their hearts. After the fall of the Nether Dao sect, Spirit Feather True Master discovered the turbid world Blue Lotus and entertained thoughts of claiming it. To keep the existence of the turbid world Blue Lotus secret, Spirit Feather True Master even expended vast resources to trade with the Reincarnation Divine Church for a powerful array that uprooted the mountain range where the Blue Lotus grew. This led to the creation of Feather Transformation Island. Before this, the gates of Feather Transformation Heaven Palace were not located on Feather Transformation Island, but in a mountain range in eastern border. Turbid world Blue Lotus. Xianxia arrived at the location. Above a pool, there quietly spun a blue lotus. This was the turbid world Blue Lotus. Since the birth of the planet, it had existed. Most planets typically had only one such primordial spirit object. However, if one were to truly identify the primordial spirit object, Xianxia believed that the roots that had sprouted the twin lotuses were the actual primordial essence. Without them, how could a second turbid world Blue Lotus have appeared? The place seemed tranquil and intact, but in reality, Spirit Feather True Master had laid numerous intricate arrays around it. Should any outsider attempt to seize the turbid world Blue Lotus, the arrays would activate immediately, alerting Spirit Feather True Master at once. Xianxia was not foolish enough to directly walk over and pluck the lotus. Instead, he sat down, channeling spiritual chi into his eyes. Moments later, his eyes, appearing both vacant and profound as if capable of seeing through everything, began to reveal the complex and abstruse patterns of the array on the otherwise empty ground. Choosing the Chen family under Feather Transformation Heaven Palace to host his soul was no random decision. The Chen family was renowned for its mastery of arrays, primarily because its members almost invariably possessed a unique spiritual constitution conducive to such magic, array spirit body. With such a constitution, the Chen's understanding of arrays far exceeded that of ordinary cultivators, essentially making them born formation masters. Each generation of the Chen family produced at least one nascent soul stage formation master. This generation's prodigy was Xianxia. His spirit was stronger, the 1 in 10,000 heavenly array spirit body. Previously as a golden core stage formation master, Xianxia had already decrypted nascent soul stage formations. Across the generations of the Chen family, he stood unparalleled, acclaimed as the foremost master of formations. Now, if Xianxia was willing to expend his lifespan, with the power of the heavenly array spirit body, he could forcibly break through a deity transformation stage array. After all, this place was set with a static array, not a dynamic one controlled by a cultivator. Spirit Feather True Master, Feather Transformation Heaven Palace. Xianxia sneered as he began to decrypt the array. Meanwhile, at the 100 Refinements sect, on Original Dao Peak, another array-breaking talisman fell. It seemed to be the last straw that broke the camel's back. The already overstressed 8 directions immutable array suddenly burst apart, dissolving into countless specks of light scattered between heaven and earth. All golden core stage formation masters at that moment spewed blood violently, collapsing to the ground, their eyes hollow and vacant, clearly rendered insensate. Even Miao Zizai, a nascent soul stage formation master, coughed up a great mouthful of blood, utterly depleted. Elder Miao. Shang Tianjue rushed to support her. Miao Zizai managed a weak smile. Young master, my task is completed. It's all up to you now. With those words, she breathed her last. Shang Tianjue gently laid her down on the ground and turned to face the 4 approaching nascent soul cultivators. All 4 of you, come at me together. Shang Tianjue rubbed his fists, his gaze cold. Whoosh! 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 Without further words, the 5 figures instantly clashed together. The glow of spells and the brilliance of magic treasures intertwined and collided. Shang Tianjue was at a complete disadvantage, seemingly about to be quickly overpowered by their combined forces. However, just a few exchanges later, the 4th disciple screamed in horror as he discovered his chest had been penetrated by Shang Tianjue's fist. Go to hell. Shang Tianjue sneered, throwing another punch that directly shattered the skull. A small nascent soul figure burst out, darting away over 100 yards in the blink of an eye. Senior brother, save me. Chapter 168, The Taste of Feather Transformation Heaven Palace's nascent soul is quite delightful plus, turn off reset. The remaining 3 had not anticipated that their exchanges with Shang Tianjue, which seemed even-handed, were all pretenses on his part. In the blink of an eye, Shang Tianjue had seized the moment when they were distracted and assassinated the 4th brother. Though they had their conflicts, they were bound by the brotherhood among senior and junior brothers. However, even if they had the will to help, it was now too late to turn the tide. Shang Tianjue had intentionally maneuvered and shifted, luring the 4th brother to a position far from the other 3. By the time the 4th brother tried to escape using his nascent soul, it was already too late. A ghastly aura transformed into a massive mouth that devoured everything in its path, and with a single gulp, it consumed the 4th brother's nascent soul. Amidst the shocked gazes of the remaining 3, Shang Tianjue grinned, the nascent soul of Feather Transformation Heaven Palace is indeed delicious. Now, it's your turn. Shang Tianjue attacked once more. Spells rained down furiously, and 3 magical treasures simultaneously targeted the trio, who scrambled in a frantic defense. For a moment, the fight seemed evenly matched, which only intensified their fear. Shang Tianjue, a man revived from death, was still so formidable. Fighting 1 against 3, he didn't falter at all. The apparent disadvantage he had shown earlier was all an act, just a ploy to kill one of them instantly. Isn't Spirit Feather True Master coming? Do I need to devour another one? Xianxia taunted with a bizarre grin, flashing his pearly white teeth. This smile made the trio feel as if they were plunging into an abyss. Sar the novel_fire. At website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Just as the three felt overwhelmed by the pressure, a powerful and irresistible aura descended from the sky. Every cultivator present felt as if a mountain was pressing down on their heads, ready to crush them at any moment. This aura surpassed all nascent souls. It belonged to a deity transformation stage cultivator, the sole and most powerful being on Mystic Azure Star. The disciples of Feather Transformation Heaven Palace breathed a sigh of relief. The old ancestor had arrived. Everything was about to end. The three disciples under Spirit Feather True Master also felt a great sense of relief in their hearts. Xianxia, surrender now. Spirit Feather True Master's voice echoed from all directions. A gigantic hand, formed from raindrops and stretching 50 zhang long, fiercely lunged at Xianxia. At this moment, Xianxia felt as if he had plunged into an ice cave. Spirit Feather True Master's spiritual sense enveloped him completely, locking down all his vital energies. There was not an inch of space for escape, as if an invisible giant hand had already grasped him tightly. A deity transformation stage cultivator versus a nascent soul stage cultivator showcased such overwhelming power. This wasn't a gap that mere talent could bridge. Those tales of geniuses defeating enemies across major cultivation realms were just that, tales. No genius had ever truly defeated an enemy across a major realm. Yet, Xianxia burst into laughter. The narrative has been taken without permission. Report any sightings. Yulingzi. You can't catch me. With those words, he fiercely slapped the myriad souls banner. A massive swarm of vengeful spirits and fierce ghosts surged in all directions. The number was terrifying, nearly blotting out the sky and casting darkness all around. Xianxia, I bought you enough time, he shouted. If you still can't secure the turbid world Blue Lotus, well, then I should have killed you back when we fought to the death. Xianxia scoffed coldly. His gaze then became vacant, his body resembling a walking corpse. Trying to mix fish eyes with pearls, Spirit Feather True Master sneered. He could clearly see that Xianxia planned to hide his nascent soul among these vengeful spirits and fierce ghosts, using them as a cover to escape. Boom. 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 Spiritual sense spiked violently, striking through the air. Wherever it passed, the vengeful spirits and fierce ghosts burst apart. The three middle-aged men quickly reacted and joined in the massacre of these ghosts. However, instead of fleeing immediately, the vengeful spirits and fierce ghosts dove into the bodies of the cultivators on the ground. Xianxia was notorious for nurturing fierce ghosts, and even the weakest ghost within his myriad souls banner was a ghost general. Above them, there were numerous ghost commanders and ghost kings. Even golden core cultivators, once possessed by a ghost king-level spirit, would become bewildered and disoriented. Those chi refining and foundation establishment cultivators stood no chance against the numerous ghost generals and quickly turned bloodthirsty, attacking all living beings around them in a frenzy. Spirit Feather True Master's expression turned grim as he surveyed the chaos. He couldn't determine which body housed Xianxia's nascent soul. With nearly 10,000 cultivators on the ground, and some more audacious spectators in the distance being attacked by these fierce ghosts, searching them one by one would take far too much time. The three middle-aged men all turned their gaze towards Spirit Feather True Master, the same thought occurring to them, but none dared to voice it. Only Spirit Feather True Master could give such an order. Kill them, spare no one, Spirit Feather True Master commanded after taking a deep breath. After all, killing cultivators did not accumulate karma, what's done is done. As long as word of today's events did not spread, no one would know that Feather Transformation Heaven Palace had once turned its blades against its own disciples. Yes, the three disciples nodded and began a massacre, not only targeting the disciples of 100 Refinements sect but also those of Feather Transformation Heaven Palace, for many of their own were also possessed by the fierce ghosts. Spirit Feather True Master floated high above, watching the hellish scene unfold on the ground, his expression as still as an ancient well. Master, I have found Xianxia's nascent soul. The eldest disciple, visibly excited, held a transparent nascent soul in one hand and approached Spirit Feather True Master. Spirit Feather True Master glanced at it, and his expression immediately darkened. This is only one part of his nascent soul, exclaimed Spirit Feather True Master, astounded by Xianxia's willingness to fragment his own soul. Clever Xianxia, to actually divide his own nascent soul. Continue searching. We must find all parts of his nascent soul. The Nether Dao sect has many secret techniques. If even a small part of his nascent soul escapes, he could recover by devouring other cultivators. The others were shaken by these words and hurriedly resumed their search. Swoosh! 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 Several figures, possessed by fierce ghosts, suddenly flew towards the distance. In the blink of an eye, more possessed cultivators ceased their slaughter and scattered in all directions, totaling over 100 figures darting off. The scene was staggering. Send your most trusted followers to pursue them, not one can be allowed to escape. Spirit Feather True Master commanded sharply. Yes. The figures of Feather Transformation Heaven Palace disciples swiftly followed, chasing down the fleeing spirits. In the distance, Chu Xian and Wan Wuing watched the scene unfold, both somewhat shaken by it. Truly, Xianxia was worthy of the title of despot, so ruthless. He had divided his nascent soul into countless parts, hiding them within the fierce ghosts, and using the bodies of possessed cultivators to escape from a certain death. The pain involved in such an act was unimaginable to the ordinary person. As for why the two were there, Feather Transformation Heaven Palace had been attacking the 8 Directions immutable array for half a year. Chu Xian and Wan Wuing had taken the opportunity to travel southwards, nearing this location. However, they had kept their distance to avoid getting involved in the fray. The two exchanged glances, seeing the thrill in each other's eyes. They immediately moved stealthily closer. Now was clearly the perfect time to strike at the disciples of Feather Transformation Heaven Palace. Chapter 169, My cultivation of merit is just a bit more than his plus, turn off reset. Still no token. Chu Xian stored the headless corpse within the tower. The storage bag also fell into his hands. However, after a thorough search, he found no token inside the storage bag of this disciple from the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace. He had already slain 3 Foundation Establishment disciples of the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace. Yet, not a single token was obtained. Whose possession was the token in? Chu Xian pondered briefly, suspecting that the tokens might be held by the confidants of those 3 middle-aged men, the Golden Core cultivators. From his waistband, the voice of Wan Wuing emanated from the transmission Jade. I still haven't managed to get the token, have you? Chu Xian replied, I haven't either. It seems we must make a move on the Golden Core cultivators. They surely have ways to contact the Nascent Soul cultivators. We must act swiftly and decisively, giving them no chance to retaliate. Neither had made an immediate move against the Golden Core cultivators of the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace. After all, they were cultivators of the same realm. And from the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace no less. Their strength was undoubtedly formidable. Should they encounter a tough opponent and fail to subdue them swiftly, they might instead find themselves ensnared in a tight encirclement, complicating matters significantly. But now, for the sake of the token to the extraterritorial battlefield, they must take the risk. Wan Wuing spoke softly, I've spotted a Golden Core cultivator from the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace. Come to me. Chu Xian immediately steered the Imperial Sky Mirror, flying low. Before long, the two of them encountered a Golden Core cultivator from the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace, currently engaged in a fierce battle with 100 Refinements Sect's Golden Core cultivator, whose body had been invaded by a fierce spirit. Judging by the battle, victory seemed imminent. Wan Wuing said in a deep tone, I'll serve as the bait, you make the move. Chu Xian nodded, all right. Wan Wuing concealed his aura, suppressing it to the mere initial stage of Golden Core, and madly dashed towards the battlefield. His act was convincing. As if his mind, too, had been invaded by a fierce spirit. Chu Xian secretly scoffed. Wan Wuying's act was so believable, could it be that he had similar experiences before? With a splash, Han Xiong dispatched the demon-possessed cultivator before him, extracting his soul with a secret technique of the feather transformation heaven palace. Upon close inspection, he found nothing unusual and discarded it to the side. Clearly, this man did not harbor the nascent soul of Shang Tianjue. He had mistaken his target. Securing Shang Tianjue's fragmented nascent soul would indeed be a significant accomplishment. Han Xiong was merely a trusted cultivator under the third disciple of the spirit-feathered true master. To that nascent soul cultivator, he was but a tool, needing to achieve a great feat to be nurtured further. This story originates from Royal Road. Ensure the author gets the support they deserve by reading it there. Thus, Han Xiong had been relentlessly pursuing those cultivators whose bodies had been invaded by fierce spirits, sparing none. Another one? Han Xiong turned toward a frenzied cultivator charging at him from a distance and immediately drew his sword to strike. However, upon contact, he realized something was amiss. The man's eyes suddenly cleared, and with a single-handed seal, he blasted out a rugged ghost claw aiming to capture him. Simultaneously, Han Xiong felt a murderous intent erupt from behind. He had unwittingly found himself sandwiched between two golden core cultivators. Two demon cultivators daring to stir the waters? Han Xiong sneered, his annoyance turning into pleasure. Did they really think a golden core cultivator of the feather transformation heaven palace was akin to an ordinary one? Slaying these two golden core cultivators and seizing their storage bags would net him a tidy profit. Scatter! Han Xiong roared, and a burst of meritorious golden light exploded from behind his head. The rugged ghost claw hadn't even fully closed before it was blasted away, dissipating much of its ghostly energy. The ghost claw that eventually fell was instantly shattered by Han Xiong. Han Xiong scoffed, "Let's see if you dare kill me." Wan Wuying's gaze sharpened. Meritorious golden light. And so intensely concentrated. It could only be achieved by saving tens of thousands of mortals. No wonder Han Xiong was undaunted by their ambush. Demonic cultivators dreaded such individuals the most. Cloaked in merit, as impenetrable as a turtle's shell, they were unbiteable. Demonic cultivators' attacks, laden with yin qi, ghost qi, and evil qi, were all scattered by merit. Their power was reduced to merely 60 or 70%. Even more lethal was the karmic backlash involved in killing such a person. The more merit one possessed, the greater the retribution for their death. Long ago, on the mystic azure star, mortals compiled the 3-character classic to enlighten children. The day the scripture was completed, the heavens sent a soul-cleansing golden rain. Golden blossoms fell chaotically, and dragons and phoenixes appeared auspiciously. Such marvels swarmed forth. Even the nascent soul cultivators of the feather transformation heaven palace were shaken. Later, two major sects, blinded by their interests, clashed fiercely, their conflict eventually engulfing the town where these mortals resided. The meritorious mortal, caught in the crossfire, tragically perished. The golden core cultivator responsible for the mortal's death was instantly consumed by a mysteriously emerging earthly fire tribulation. That same day, a heavenly thunder tribulation descended, reducing the nascent soul ancestors of the two sects to ashes. Since then, many cultivators of mystic azure star realized a fundamental truth. Merit is immensely powerful. Before attempting to harm those endowed with merit, it is wise to consider whether one can withstand the karmic backlash. Wan Wuying, witnessing the golden light of merit, immediately thought of retreating. Over the years, he had slain numerous cultivators and mortals, accumulating a heavy burden of negative karma. He dared not test his limits any further. He looked towards Chu Xian, who had even earned the nickname of a ruthless old devil. His demonic practices had advanced rapidly over the years, surely involving the slaughter of countless innocents. His karmic debt was undoubtedly no less than Wan Wuying's. Chu Xian, too, would surely hesitate to strike. "Let's retreat." Wan Wuing transmitted his thoughts. I can handle it, Chu Xian responded without hesitation, his fist thundering through the air. Han Xiong had not expected that, even after displaying such potent meritorious light, his opponent would recklessly charge forward. Seeking death, Han Xiong scoffed, uttering a low shout as a shield of golden light, brimming with merit, appeared around him. At the same time, two magic treasures, one on each side, lunged towards Chu Xian in a lethal assault. Boom! Chu Xian's fist struck down. In an instant, it sent two magic treasures flying, both showing cracks and losing their luster. Han Xiong's expression subtly changed. A physical body shattering low-grade magic treasures. This man was undoubtedly a body cultivator. Yet, with such merit within him, he should be able to withstand this strike. He didn't flinch. But then, a crisp crack resounded. Han Xiong's head was obliterated on the spot. The golden light of merit instantly turned a ghastly red, surging into Chu Xian like a fierce ghost. Wan Wuing watched in pity. It was unnecessary. The karmic backlash from killing this man, you couldn't possibly handle it. It seemed that his former junior brother was about to perish. However, to his astonishment, Chu Xian seemed unbothered, casually storing Han Xiong's headless body in the corpse-nurturing tower. He stood still, examining the storage bag he picked up. Moments later, he exclaimed in surprise, "There are tokens." A full 10 tokens. Wan Wuing stared at Chu Xian in shock, as if seeing him for the first time. You don't feel the karmic backlash? Wan Wuing couldn't help but ask. Chu Xian shook his head, no, I don't feel anything. Was this man's merit significant? It seemed rather ordinary to me. Xianxia the novelfire.nt website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Wan Wuing replied, he must have saved at least 10,000 mortals to accumulate such merit. We demonic cultivators struggle to withstand such severe karmic backlash. Chu Xian chuckled, actually, I also cultivate merit, just a bit more than him. Wan Wuing rolled his eyes, do I look like a fool to you? Chapter 170, The Death of Spirit Feather True Master Plus, Turn Off Reset. Cultivating merit? Why don't you go save all the suffering people in the world? Chu Xian knew that Wan Wuing would never believe his words. He had just said it casually. However, the karmic backlash from killing Han Xiong was indeed trivial to him. He couldn't even feel a hint of it. Of course, for Wan Wuing, such a backlash would be terrifying. Perhaps it was this very act that had crossed the line, ultimately inviting the punishment of the human race's heavenly Tao. Wan Wuing said solemnly, are you really all right? Don't force yourself. Chu Xian smiled and nodded, I'm very well. Seeing no signs of distress, Wan Wuing nodded, then let's hurry and leave. Having slain a golden core from the feather transformation heaven palace, we'll likely face retaliation soon. The two swiftly flew close to the ground and soon vanished. Elsewhere. Spirit Feather True Master looked at the nascent soul fragments brought by his subordinates, his expression growing uglier. This isn't right, only a part of this is Shang Tianjua's nascent soul, these are not his qi. These belong to other nascent soul cultivators. That cunning boy had planned it all along, prepared another nascent soul. With the two nascent souls mixed together, it's even harder to find, this damned thing. Spirit Feather True Master, unusually, lost his composure. He couldn't help but grind his teeth in frustration. His three disciples were dumbfounded. Ah? It's not Shang Tianjua's nascent soul? Whose nascent soul is it then? Spirit Feather True Master, exasperated, snapped, you ask me, who do I ask? The three disciples just scratched their heads. A few hours later, all disciples of the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace returned, handing over the scattered nascent soul fragments to Spirit Feather True Master. Only 2/3 are here, the remaining third has escaped. Spirit Feather True Master's gaze was icy cold. Third disciple, you stay here and dig 3 feet into the ground if you must, but find me Shang Tianjua's remaining nascent soul. If you can't find it, don't bother returning to the Feather Transformation Island. The third disciple sighed inwardly, but could only nod in agreement. A sudden spark of insight flashed in Spirit Feather True Master's mind, and his expression dramatically changed. Throughout the day, something had felt amiss, yet he couldn't pinpoint the source. At that moment, he finally understood. Xianxia. Shang Tianjue's half-brother, Xianxia, had not appeared yet. Knowing he was outmatched, Shang Tianjue had still shown up, employing every tactic to delay time, likely to aid Xianxia. What could Xianxia rely on that could threaten the feather transformation heaven palace? It was that thing. This realization was why Spirit Feather True Master's expression had altered so drastically. Thinking this, he immediately set off for the central continent. He needed to return to Feather Transformation Island quickly. This narrative has been unlawfully taken from Royal Road. If you see it on Amazon, please report it. That thing must not be lost. Master. The eldest disciple began to speak. The third disciple frowned, Master. The second disciple whispered, could Master be worried that Shang Tianjue's delay was to buy time for Xianxia? That's impossible, though they are half-brothers, they have always been rivals. Shang Tianjue has nearly killed Xianxia several times. Spirit Feather True Master was about to respond when suddenly, a rift tore open in the distant sky. An immensely terrifying aura descended abruptly. This presence, as soon as it appeared, swept across the entire mystic azure star. All beings, whether human or beast, trembled uncontrollably. Spirit Feather True Master's 3 disciples felt it, and so did Chu Xian and Wan Wuying, who were fleeing far away. Even Spirit Feather True Master, a deity transformation cultivator, was filled with fear and astonishment. What is happening? This question echoed in everyone's minds. Chu Xian looked towards the sky. He saw a gigantic hand reaching through the rift. A blue lotus slowly rose from somewhere below, settling into the palm of that enormous hand. The blue lotus was suffused with a verdant divine light, and a single glance at it cleared the mind, suggesting it was an extraordinary spiritual entity. Following this, a majestic voice resonated. The Feather Transformation Heaven Palace concealed the primordial spirit object, the turbid world blue lotus. Spirit Feather Taoist knowingly committed this crime, and thus must be punished. The gigantic hand slammed down fiercely. Overwhelmed with fear, Spirit Feather True Master did not hesitate to use the essence of his nascent soul to teleport instantly. In the blink of an eye, he had moved thousands of zhang away. Even as he fled, he cried out, "Emissary, hear my explanation." But before he could finish, the giant hand thunderously crashed down. In an instant, Spirit Feather True Master was smashed deep into the earth. The mountain beneath him became a colossal crater. Surrounding rivers surged violently towards it, quickly forming a massive lake at the site. A severe earthquake radiated in all directions, yet it didn't spread far, as if skillfully contained within a specific range. As for Spirit Feather True Master, his physical body and nascent soul were instantly vaporized and annihilated. Everything inside his storage bag was also obliterated. Nothing was left behind. Chu Xian and Wan Wuying watched this scene unfold with utter shock resonating within them. Wan Wuying exclaimed in amazement, What level of power does it take to act like this? To annihilate a deity transformation stage cultivator with a single palm, vaporizing both body and soul on the spot, even an astral projection stage cultivator couldn't achieve that, right? Chu Xian was speechless. He only felt how fierce the display of power was. However, after a brief moment of shock, he quickly regained his composure. There was no need to aim too high. He hadn't even reached the step of transforming his core into a soul. How could he contemplate even higher realms? The only thing he regretted was the loss of Spirit Feather True Master's storage bag. Why crush it? Give me a chance to have a look at it. The primordial spirit object, the turbid world blue lotus? Although I'm not sure what that is, it must be valuable to the Reincarnation Divine Church. Spirit Feather True Master's hoarding of this treasure invited disaster. Shang Tianjue delayed here. Could it have been Xianxia who exposed this? Chu Xian pondered deeply. Just as this thought surfaced, that majestic voice once again echoed through mystic azure. Xianxia presents the turbid world Blue Lotus and has made great contributions. He may enter the extraterritorial battlefield and receive rewards. Those in possession of the battlefield tokens are to follow the summons within a month to enter the extraterritorial battlefield. Make no mistake. Suddenly, a streak of gray light shot through the sky. A figure ascended towards the heavens along the gray light and quickly disappeared from sight. It must have been Xianxia, as mentioned by the voice. Wan Wuing burst into laughter. It really was Xianxia. TSK, 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 those two brothers, one delaying time and the other seeking the spiritual object, really dealt a heavy blow to the feather transformation heaven palace. He laughed joyously, completely forgetting that he himself was bodiless, a plight caused by Shang Tianjue. Wan Wuing added, I heard that the disciples of the feather transformation heaven palace who got the slots have already entered the extraterritorial battlefield. Probably the other 5th level cultivation sects will start targeting the feather transformation heaven palace too. Chu Xian nodded in agreement. SAR the novel fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. After this incident, it would be difficult for the feather transformation heaven palace to rise again. There's 1 month left, we should quickly sell off the extra tokens. The final profit should be split between us 60-40, given that you killed that golden core cultivator from the feather transformation heaven palace and bore the karmic backlash, Wan Wuing whispered. Chu Xian coughed lightly, senior brother, since I bore the brunt of the karmic force, I think a 70-30 split would be more appropriate. Wan Wuing looked at him, speechless for a long while, before finally saying, all right. Chapter 171, so this is your reason for poisoning? Plus, turn off reset. Upon seeing Wan Wuing concede, Chu Xian immediately broke into a smile. He could have pushed for a larger share, demanding an 80-20% split, but that would have been too aggressive. SEA the Nelfire.nt website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. A 70-30 split seemed more reasonable. There was no need to push Wan Wuing too hard. Senior brother, do you have a target in mind? Chu Xian asked casually. Wan Wuing nodded, yes, I know a few old fellows who are still around. Their lifespans are nearing their end, and they surely want to try their luck on the battlefield beyond our realm. Good, then contact them, Chu Xian nodded. The two then took out their flying treasures and swiftly soared away. There was no need for restraint now. All of the nascent soul ancestors from the feather transformation heaven palace had perished. The voice of that formidable being had spread across the entire mystic azure star, clear to any cultivator who harbored spiritual energy within them. The prestige of feather transformation heaven palace had plummeted tremendously. The 3 disciples under Spirit Feather Tour Master were in complete disarray, surely contemplating how to stabilize the situation. They had no time to deal with these 2 demonic cultivators. Such chaos was exactly what demonic cultivators longed to see. Blue Star. Chu Xian gazed at the now complete psionic cube before him, his face lighting up with joy. It was finally complete. This had all started when monks from Feather Transformation Heaven Palace began their assault on the 100 Refinements Sect's Mountain Gate Array. The Zombie Empress and Zombie Matriarch had sent word simultaneously, having discovered the whereabouts of another fragment of the psionic cube. Chu Xian had searched for a while but found nothing. Eventually, he handed the task over to the zombie army, letting them search. 5 years had passed on Blue Star, and they had indeed found it. The fragment was inside the stomach of a deep-sea leviathan, appearing now in the deep sea, now in the shallows. No wonder I couldn't find it before, it was hidden in the deep sea, Chu Xian said, shaking his head with a chuckle. This psionic cube is finally complete. Does it have any new functions? He wondered aloud, carefully examining the cube. The mysterious and intricate patterns on its surface had become even more profound. The primal psionic energy it emitted was also immensely powerful. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that this psionic cube could elevate any being to a transcendent level 9. Could it be the primordial spirit item of Blue Star? Chu Xian suddenly thought of the mystic azure star's core spiritual object, the turbid world azure lotus. This psionic cube, capable of evolving all life on a planet, seemed just as impressive. It very much resembled what one might call a primordial spirit item. This novel is published on a different platform. Support the original author by finding the official source. Just then, Chu Xian felt an indistinct and obscure fluctuation coming from inside the psionic cube. The waves were sometimes long, sometimes short, at times rapid, at times gentle. Chu Xian furrowed his brows and delved his spiritual sense into it. He had tried this before, but unlike the magic treasure of mystic azure star, this psionic cube could not be marked by spiritual sense. Its interior was empty, void of anything. But this time, Chu Xian noticed something unusual. Inside the psionic cube, there was a point of light. The fluctuations were emanating from this light. Chu Xian extended his spiritual sense towards it and instantly received a message from the light. Talk. Talk, I'm freaking out. What's with this newbie, not talking at all? Chu Xian. Shocked. There was actually someone speaking. From the light point, another message came, newbie, I see you, why aren't you speaking? Then, the light point drifted towards Chu Xian. Upon making contact, it exclaimed in shock, such powerful soul force. Are you really a newbie? Before Chu Xian could reply, it spoke again, suspiciously, you couldn't be some awakened soul king, could you? Hey, don't joke around, say something. Your soul power is very strong, even stronger than mine. The planet I'm from is called Pegasus Star, close to Soul Star. What's your planet called? My name is Mananchan. What's yours? Chu Xian remained silent. This fellow's chatter was relentless, like a machine gun firing away without a pause. Chu Xian stroked his chin, pondering. Soul power, soul king, newbie, Pegasus Star, Soul Star, Mananchan? He had never heard any of these terms before. This psionic cube wasn't the primordial spirit item he had speculated, but rather seemed like a communication device. Whoever possessed the psionic cube was added directly into a chat group. Whether the members of the chat group belonged to the same force, or even if they were human, was uncertain. Being cautious, Chu Xian chose not to speak to this so-called Mananchan. He knew too little about the situation. Speaking rashly could easily expose his ignorance. So, he decided to remain silent. Since Mananchan liked to talk, it was better to just listen. Over time, by listening, he would come to understand many things. After some thought, Chu Xian took out the blood mirror. The function of the blood mirror seemed limited to shuttling between mystic azure star and blue star. Could it not travel to other planets? Or perhaps, were there prerequisites required? Chu Xian shook his head, no longer wanting to ponder these questions. Such a treasure as the blood mirror was beyond even his ability to discern its rank, let alone its prerequisites. Right now, his only task was to continue enhancing his strength and venture into the extraterritorial battlefield. If it's too dangerous, I'll just return to Blue Star and continue my cultivation. Chu Xian resolved. He had never been one to grow arrogant over his current level of power. Even a mighty figure like Spirit-Feathered Tor Master had been slain with a single strike by a formidable being from beyond the stars. In the eyes of such powerful beings, what was he? One must become the strongest to truly transcend everything. Mystic Azure Star, 1 month later. Chu Xian arrived early at the location previously agreed upon with Wan Wuying. Why early? Well, what if a well-intentioned senior brother played a trick on him? He needed to ensure he controlled the situation. So this is your reason for poisoning? Wan Wuying asked, looking at Chu Xian with disfavor after a moment. Chu Xian laughed, isn't this just a way to exchange some insights on poisoning? Wan Wuying pointed at Zhao Wuya, who was foaming at the mouth and collapsed on the ground. What about him? Chu Xian shrugged, fellow Taoist Zhao has been poisoned, and I'm quite helpless about it. Wan Wuying then pointed to Huang Yuanwu, whose nostrils and corners of his mouth were bleeding, and him. Chu Xian inspected him closely and shook his head repeatedly. That wasn't my doing, senior brother, don't pin this on me. Wan Wuying took a closer look and chuckled awkwardly. That was my doing, got it mixed up, haha. Moments later, after taking the antidote, both Zhao Wuya and Huang Yuanwu stood up, their faces sullen. The four of them stared at each other for a long time in a stalemate. After a while, Zhao Wuya finally spoke. Both of you, we're getting old and can't withstand this anymore. Don't drag us into your conflicts when you two are contesting with poison. Huang Yuanwu nodded repeatedly, agreeing. Zhao Wuya and Huang Yuanwu looked at Chu Xian with a mix of emotions. Before the fall of the Heavenly Seal sect, they had sensed something amiss and had excused themselves on a sect mission to avoid the impending disaster. Indeed, as they had anticipated, Heavenly Seal sect was annihilated by the Heaven-burning sect. Afterward, they roamed from place to place, disguising themselves as low-level cultivators. They even spent some time disguised as Foundation establishment cultivators among the 100 Sects Alliance. They had thought that this would be their life from then on. However, they were astounded when Wan Wuying found them not long ago, claiming to have a token that granted access to the extraterritorial battlefield. They had thought he was long dead. And yet, he had emerged alive from the Sighost Palace? But where did this battlefield token come from? When they learned that the token was obtained by both Chu Xian and Wan Wuying together, their astonishment increased even more. Wan Wuying's former disciple had become a golden core cultivator? Huang Yuanwu, having never met Chu Xian, was not too shocked. The most shocked was Zhao Wuya, who had personally seen Chu Xian before. Back then, Wan Wuying had brought Li Xianming, Chu Xian, Lu Zhenxiong, Wu Teng, and others to the Heavenly Seal Sect's Flying Mountain Hall, seeking to cleanse their demonic cultivator identities and join the Heavenly Seal Sect as cultivators from the extremely Yin Cave. It was Zhao Wuya who had received them. Zhao Wuya was deeply moved. Fellow Daoist Chu, it's only been a few years, and you've gone from a mere Foundation establishment cultivator to a golden core cultivator. I never expected this, truly unexpected. All the disciples under Old Wan, dead or betrayed, and in the end, it's only you who remain. Chu Xian merely smiled. Life is unsentimental. Other than himself, who could have guessed that he would be the last one standing? In secret, Wan Wuying handed a storage bag to Chu Xian, whispering, the rest of the tokens have been auctioned off, and your 70% share of the proceeds is inside. Chu Xian accepted it tacitly. Let's go, we're heading to that ancient teleportation array, said Wan Wuying, beckoning Chu Xian and the others to follow. 4 streaks of light whirled through the sky, swiftly reaching a manor. This manor housed the ancient teleportation array and was usually manned by disciples of Feather Transformation Heaven Palace, with at least 3 Foundation establishment cultivators stationed here. But now, it was deserted. Search the novelfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The reason was all too simple. With the death of the nascent soul cultivators from Feather Transformation Heaven Palace and the tragic end of its nascent soul ancestors, coupled with a significant drop in prestige, the sect had no choice but to retract its power. Particularly after the upheavals caused by Shang Tianjue in southern wilderness. The major sects in eastern border, northern cold, and western land remained intact. The remaining nascent soul cultivators certainly wouldn't miss the chance to bring down Feather Transformation Heaven Palace during its time of weakness. What goes around comes around, it's my turn today. And, well, even if it's not at my home, it certainly won't be at Feather Transformation Heaven Palace. Let's do this. If you stumble upon this narrative on Amazon, be aware that it has been stolen from Royal Road. Please report it. The reason they chose this location over a guarded ancient teleportation formation was straightforward. Despite its retraction, Feather Transformation Heaven Palace was still a formidable force with nascent soul stage cultivators. Chu Xian and Wan Wuying, being demonic cultivators, would certainly not approach Feather Transformation Heaven Palace directly. An unguarded ancient teleportation formation was obviously the better choice. Is this the ancient teleportation formation? Chu Xian surveyed the enormous structure before him, marveling at its size. The ancient teleportation formation was more than 10 zhang high and wide, over 30 meters in both length and width according to Blue Star's measurements. I've heard that such ancient teleportation formations were crafted by superior sections. Even feather transformation Heaven Palace lacks the capability to construct such a device, Huang Yuanwu remarked. I also heard that the materials used to build ancient teleportation formations are incredibly hard, such that even late-stage nascent soul cultivators can't leave a mark on them with their full power. Zhao Wuya added, touching the surface of the formation in awe. Wan Wuying nodded. Activating this teleportation formation requires a significant amount of spirit stones. Now that feather transformation Heaven Palace has withdrawn, we need to provide our own spirit stones. Did everyone bring the spirit stones? Chu Xian and the others nodded. We did. According to what we agreed earlier, you two will contribute 1,000 medium spiritual stones, and we 200, Wan Wuying stated calmly. Zhao Wuya and Huang Yuanwu, despite the pinch, nodded in agreement. After all, the tokens were in the hands of Wan Wuying and Chu Xian. A total of 1,200 medium spiritual stones were then fed into the ancient teleportation formation. Initially, the large number of medium spiritual stones seemed to disappear into the formation like stones sinking into the ocean, showing no reaction at all. It wasn't until 1,000 medium spiritual stones had been inserted that a faint glow began to emanate from its surface. Once all the spirit stones were in place, the surface of the formation finally shone with layers of brilliant light, swirling continuously. As Chu Xian observed the ancient teleportation formation closely, he noticed it resembled a curtain of water, filled with intense spatial fluctuations. Wan Wuying spoke in a deep voice, "Take out the battlefield tokens. These serve as coordinates, allowing us to teleport to the extraterritorial battlefield without losing our way. We should all arrive close to each other if we use the same ancient teleportation formation," he continued. "Once we land, we'll regroup as quickly as possible and head to the nearest city." Chu Xian and the others nodded slightly and took out their respective tokens. "I'll go first." Huang Yuanwu called out, holding his battlefield token and resolutely stepping into the teleportation light screen first, followed by Wan Wuying and Zhao Wuya. Chu Xian was the last to enter. Shortly after the four men entered, about 10 breaths of time passed, and the light screen quickly dimmed before finally vanishing. The ancient teleportation formation returned to its usual appearance. On Dragonfish Island, Yuan Zichu, Zhu Yuqiao, and Wu Daolong stood in front of an ancient teleportation formation. Wu Daolong, with his arm around Zhu Yuqiao's slender waist, expressed his gratitude. "Fellow Daoist Yuan, if it weren't for you, both Chower and I would never have obtained this battlefield token." He continued with heartfelt thanks. Also, Chower, being a formation master, was originally to be forcibly conscripted by Shang Tianjue to guard the 8 directions immutable array. If you hadn't helped us fake her disappearance, she might have ended up mindless like the other Golden Core formation masters. Wu Daolong bowed deeply. "Words cannot express my gratitude. From now on, you are my brother in life and death." Yuan Zichu quickly helped him up, feigning anger. "Fellow Daoist Wu, there's no need for such formalities. The 3 of us escaped feather transformation Heaven Palace's pursuit together. Considering our life and death experiences, it's only right to share the battlefield token with you. As for helping to create the illusion of disappearance, it's the least I could do. I've exchanged many ideas on the art of formations with fellow Daoist Zhu, considering her almost a master of mine, so it was only natural to help." Wu Daolong, tears brimming in his eyes, said, "I am over 400 years old, and my lifespan nearing its end. Only by entering the extraterritorial battlefield can I hope to find a chance at reaching the nascent soul stage. Fellow Daoist Yuan, your actions have given me a new lease on life. I've decided, if Chower and I have children, they shall be named Wu Zichu." "Yuan Zichu, that might not be necessary." Wu Daolong, overcome with emotion, exclaimed, "I will go first." Holding the token, he stepped into the ancient teleportation formation. Yuan Zichu and Zhu Yuqiao, holding hands and exchanging smiles, followed him into the formation. Black Dragon Mountain. The moon was high in the sky. The place was silent and deserted. Previously, feather transformation Heaven Palace had swept through, nearly exterminating all the disciples of the 100 Refinements sect at Black Dragon Mountain. At this moment, however, two figures stealthily approached the area. They were Xianxia and Qiantang. The goo in my body suddenly became less active. Could it be that our master has left us far behind? Qiantang whispered. Xianxia pondered. I heard from a Golden Core elder that the extraterritorial battlefield has opened. Could he have gone there? Qiantang nodded. That's very likely. Does this mean we are no longer bound? We don't have to follow the commands of that old demon anymore. Xianxia laughed heartily. Exactly. Now is our chance to find a way to dissolve the 5 organs goo and completely free ourselves from that old demon. Search *the Oval Fire. At website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The transition from master to he to old demon was swift. Moonlight bathed the forest. At the top of a tall mountain, a stern-faced middle-aged man spoke firmly. Major Young Master, you need not feel guilty over Mo Ming's death. He once betrayed the Nether Dao sect by leaking information. Even though he repented and even offered up the heads of geniuses from Feather Transformation Heaven Palace, his heart had changed, and he was no longer worthy of being your confidant. In the Corpse Nurturing Tower and Ghost Nurturing Tower are the physical bodies and living souls of Hidden Mountain Gathering members, at your disposal. Major Young Master, when I, Qi-In, was but a mere Qi cultivator, you protected me. I seized another spiritual route to establish my foundation, and only then could I step onto the path of the Golden Core. Your nascent soul is gravely damaged, and without a body, it would surely perish. I offer my body to you. With those words, he didn't even wait for Xianxia to speak and used a secret method to destroy his own soul. In an instant, he became a mere shell, an excellent vessel. A sigh from Xianxia echoed in his mind. The stern middle-aged man's eyes suddenly brightened again. However, this time, the look in his eyes was completely different. Cold. Icy. Unrestrained. These were the eyes of the Overlord, Xianxia. He scanned the 2 towers with his spiritual sense. Inside, he found 10 Golden Core cultivators' bodies and 10 Golden Core cultivators' souls, clearly killed by Qi-In in his lifetime. However, a few were missing. They must have sensed the danger and escaped in time. No matter. From this moment on, Hidden Mountain Gathering ceased to exist. Qi-In, Black Chess, Hidden Mountain Gathering. If it weren't for your pivotal role, our plan to severely damage Feather Transformation Heaven Palace wouldn't have gone so smoothly, Xianxia acknowledged. You could be reading stolen content. Head to the original site for the genuine story. Qi-In, I promise you, once I return from the extraterritorial battlefield, I will establish your family as a Golden Core family. A Golden Core in every generation, never to fade away. Holding the battlefield token, Xianxia flew towards an ancient teleportation formation that was not guarded by any Feather Transformation Heaven Palace cultivators. The fall of the 3 nascent soul ancestors from the Nether Dao sect on the extraterritorial battlefield was no accident. It could either be a great peril or a great opportunity. I must uncover the truth. A fiery determination blazed in his eyes. Extraterritorial battlefield. This was a land made up of wreckage and ruins. Everywhere one looked was desolate, completely devoid of life. At this moment, on a plain, a group of slender, pitch-black demonic beasts was chasing a beautiful, slim woman. Her face was filled with terror, and her body was covered in wounds. Her close-fitting Taoist robe was torn in many places, almost to the point of rags. Despite the sudden exposure, she had no intention of covering up. Escape was her only priority, there was no time for modesty. Spiritual Qi. I'm running out of spiritual Qi, she panicked as the bizarre demonic beasts closed in. The woman tried to activate her escape technique again but found her spiritual Qi completely depleted. She couldn't even muster enough to initiate her technique. Can anyone save me? She desperately hoped for a miracle, a mighty savior to appear from the heavens. Just then, the space in front of her twisted abruptly. In the blink of an eye, a figure appeared. It was Chu Xian. Save me. I'll give you anything I have, she exclaimed in delight, rushing towards Chu Xian. Her pitiful appearance, combined with her graceful figure and the exposed skin of her chest, would stir the heart of anyone. Chu Xian frowned deeply, glancing at the swarm of bizarre demonic beasts pursuing them. He quickly used an escape technique to put distance between himself and the female cultivator. He didn't hesitate to slap 2 movement talismans on his legs, boosting his speed significantly. Soon, he had put a considerable distance between them. The woman was dumbfounded. She had always been confident in her beauty and had even resorted to using a charm technique, yet she had failed to captivate him. The woman, teeth clenched in frustration, threatened, "I am a cultivator from the Majestic Sword sect. My master is Flying Dragon Sword Shangguan Hao. My death image will be known to my master. If you abandon me, he will see it too." Upon hearing this, Chu Xian immediately stopped. The woman's face lit up with joy, thinking that this person was the type who responded to threats rather than pleas, and she had successfully intimidated him into saving her. "Fellow Taoist, I will forever remember your life-saving grace. Should you ever visit the Majestic Sword sect, you will be handsomely rewarded," she said, quickly approaching Chu Xian while covertly readying a soul-capturing spell in her hand. Chu Xian turned around with a cold smile. In her eyes of despair, he lifted his foot and then kicked her right into the midst of the beasts. "Majestic Sword sect wiped out my entire sect. This hatred is irreconcilable. I, He Liang, specifically hunt down cultivators of the Majestic Sword sect." Chu Xian's face was covered by He Liang's human skin mask as he spoke. The woman screamed repeatedly as she was torn apart by the bizarre demonic beasts. Chu Xian then took the opportunity to accelerate. Before the other demonic beasts could catch up, he threw out a barrage of thunder seeds to temporarily repel them and made a quick escape. A few days later, Chu Xian hid in a mountain cave, sighing helplessly. "I didn't expect that these surroundings would be swarming with these bizarre demonic beasts known as Nether crocodiles. Even if I can break out for a distance, I can't sustain it long. The surrounding Nether crocodiles would swarm again. Such terrible luck, to land right among a group of demonic beasts." Chu Xian shook his head repeatedly. If Wan Wuying hadn't given them each a jade slip imbued with the sense of common demonic beasts found on the extraterritorial battlefield before they entered, he might not even know what was surrounding him. The Nether crocodile, a common demonic beast found on the extraterritorial battlefield, is about the length of an adult's thigh, entirely black, with a body hard as steel and streamlined for swift movement. Spells from a golden core cultivator are, at most, 70% effective against them. These thunder seeds seem to cause decent damage to the Nether crocodiles. "Looks like I need to stock up on these," he mused. "I shall return to Blue Star, produce more thunder seeds, and then blast them all." With a cold snort, Chu Xian turned and returned to Blue Star. Chapter 174, Such a task of saving the souls of the Soul Star is our inescapable duty. Plus, turn off reset. On the extraterritorial battlefield, within Lei Family City, golden core cultivators from across the cosmos were a common sight. Controlled by the Reincarnation Divine Church, the majority of golden core cultivators from more than 10 stars had converged here. Each star was allotted 1,000 tokens, and even if 10 to 20% of these tokens remained undiscovered, at least 10,000 golden core cultivators from various cultivation stars had arrived on this battlefield. Lei Family City was a gathering place for rogue cultivators in the vicinity. The extraterritorial battlefield, unlike the cultivation stars, was highly unstable, riddled with spatial rifts and bizarre ancient beasts. Only a few unique areas were relatively stable. Over countless years, these regions naturally became gathering spots for cultivators, eventually evolving into cities. Lei Family City was one such city, controlled by a nascent soul family. Inside the largest inn of Lei Family City, Wan Wuying, Zhao Wuya, and Huang Yuanwu were gathered. "Have we still not found Chu Xian?" Wan Wuying asked in a low voice. Zhao Wuya and Huang Yuanwu both shook their heads repeatedly. "I went east, and he went south, neither of us found any trace of Chu Xian." Zhao Wuya sighed lightly, fellow Daoist Chu is highly skilled and would have been a great asset. Alas, perhaps he was just unlucky, landing amidst a group of demonic beasts. Huang Yuanwu murmured thoughtfully, I heard yesterday that a large group of Nether crocodiles appeared on the western battlefield. Since the opening of the extraterritorial battlefield, many who landed there perished, and only a very few lucky ones escaped. Even the talented disciples of the majestic sword sect from Dawn Star died there. If fellow Daoist Chu also landed on the western battlefield. Wan Wuying fell silent, eventually letting out a long sigh. Alive or dead, it's fate. It's not easy to stay in Lei Family City. We are all people with not much life left, there's no need to keep searching for him deliberately. Let's prioritize our own survival. Jiao Wuya and Huang Yuanwu nodded in agreement, saying no more. On Blue Star, Chu Xian tossed 10 thunder crystals into the reverse thunder formation. Each head-sized thunder crystal was worth 20,000 small spiritual stones, and these 10 amounted to a staggering 200,000 small spiritual stones, all proceeds from the auction of the tokens. Fortunately, I had Wan Wuying gather some, or else it wouldn't have been enough to condense the Yin thunder seeds. Chu Xian chuckled lightly, focusing intently on the task. Days turned into years, and in the blink of an eye, 3 years had passed. The number of Yin thunder seeds in his spiritual sea had reached 5,000. During his free time, Chu Xian also delved into the study of poisons and occasionally checked the situation on Blue Star and the status of the psionic cube. This fellow is still talking to himself, non-stop, Chu Xian remarked, surprised as he took out the psionic cube. Over the past 5 years, that person who called himself Ma Nanshan talked daily, seemingly unbothered by solitude. You might be reading a stolen copy. Visit Royal Road for the authentic version. Just then, Chu Xian noticed another light spot appear, significantly larger, about 7 or 8 times, than Ma Nanshan's. It radiated a bright light. Ma Nanshan, who had been mumbling to himself, was overjoyed at this development. Another newcomer has arrived, he exclaimed. Quick, tell us your name, which star you're from, talk to me. Chu Xian, intrigued, watched the new light spot, waiting for it to speak. After a long moment, a weary voice emerged from it. My name is Yun Ming, Soul King of the Rectitude Hall on the Soul Star. Are you the summoned ones from Blue Star and Pegasus Star? I represent the Rectitude Hall, requesting your presence on the Soul Star to save our precarious civilization. Chu Xian raised an eyebrow. I haven't spoken yet. How can he see me? Then, Yun Ming proceeded to provide detailed information. After listening to Yun Ming's explanation, Chu Xian's interest was piqued. Unexpectedly, there was such a human civilization. The Soul Star once harbored a brilliant human civilization. Perhaps due to the unique nature of the Soul Star, or maybe because its inhabitants chose the wrong evolutionary path, they did not follow the technological route like Blue Star. Instead, they developed a soul civilization. The people of the Soul Star had developed an extremely advanced soul system. They could even use soul techniques for attack and defense, to tame wild beasts, and facilitate daily life. However, they soon realized that the physical body limited the soul. Without a physical body, the soul could become much stronger. Perhaps it could even climb to a higher tier of life. But those from the Soul Star who had forsaken their physical bodies underwent great changes in temperament, becoming exceedingly bloodthirsty. Only a few managed to retain their personalities from before they discarded their bodies. Over time, the people of the Soul Star split into 2 factions. The Eternal Hall advocated for the abandonment of the physical body to evolve the soul and pursue absolute immortality. In contrast, the Hall of Rectitude believed that both the body and soul were essential. Once the body was discarded, one ceased to be a true human and became an aberration. The term rectitude in the Hall of Rectitude signifies the essence of true humanity. As the disagreements between the Eternal Hall and the Hall of Rectitude intensified, conflict inevitably erupted. The Soul Star was thrown into chaos, with countless lives lost. Terrifying vengeful spirits and ghastly specters roamed every inch of the planet, and only 1 in 10 of the Soul Star's inhabitants survived. They found themselves unable to salvage their world with their dwindling strength. To preserve their civilization, the Hall of Rectitude was compelled to disperse the psionic cube, which contained powerful primal psionic energy, to foster the evolution of other planetary civilizations in the hopes that these worlds' humans would come to their aid. According to Yun Ming, those in possession of the psionic cube were invariably the strongest on their respective planets. The Hall of Rectitude believed that only such powerful beings had the capacity to save the Soul Star. Yun Ming continued, before you, 4 newcomers were transported to the Soul Star via the psionic cube. Their progress has been favorable. As a member of the Hall of Rectitude, I earnestly request that you both join us. Here is the method to activate the psionic cube's soul teleportation matrix. Once activated, your souls will be transported to the Soul Star. Upon arrival, you can enter containers prepared by the Hall of Rectitude to begin the rescue mission. As a reward, the Hall of Rectitude will provide methods for you to further enhance your capabilities. He sent out a message, which entered the light points representing Chu Xian and Ma Nanshan. CTHNovelFire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Chu Xian pondered after reading it. The activation method was not complicated, it merely required charging the psionic cube. He estimated that throwing a few small spiritual stones into it would suffice to activate the soul teleportation matrix. The only consideration was whether to go. The Eternal Hall and the Hall of Rectitude are at loggerheads, expecting outsiders to come to their rescue? Chu Xian scoffed. Relying on outsiders instead of holding hope in their own hands, what does that mean? However, the Soul Star is plagued with a vast number of vengeful spirits and specters, and its people live in dire straits. Such a task of saving the souls of the Soul Star is our inescapable duty. Chu Xian nodded, primarily motivated by the desire to rescue the souls of the Soul Star. Collecting the vengeful spirits and specters was merely incidental. Chapter 175, Those who obstruct my path have already chosen their death. Plus, turn off reset. However, the dangers of the Soul Star are unknown, and I need not commit my entire soul to it, Chu Xian pondered. Perhaps I should sever a portion of my spiritual sense and send it to the Soul Star. In this way, I can explore the Soul Star while continuing my cultivation. A light bulb went off in Chu Xian's mind. This was a viable solution. Yet, this solution brought with it a cascade of new challenges: how to sever part of his soul and, once on the Soul Star, how to capture the vengeful spirits and ghosts. I do have a secret technique for severing the soul. Chu Xian suddenly recalled that after slaying Chao Zijin, a genius from the heaven-burning sect, he had found a treasure trove of techniques and scrolls in his storage bag. At the time, he had set them aside as they were of little use to him. Now, revisiting these treasures, he indeed found a suitable method. The soul division technique. This technique, essential for puppeteering, allowed a cultivator to divide their soul, a skill almost all puppeteers use to multitask and control their puppets. As for a method to bind vengeful spirits and ghosts with the soul, he found none. He wondered if the soul techniques on the Soul Star might offer similar capabilities. First, I will cultivate the soul division technique. Just mastering the first level should allow me to sever a strand of my soul. If it's just to assess the dangers of the Soul Star, that should suffice. Chu Xian then settled down to diligently cultivate the soul division technique. Having previously condensed the Nether soul core, his spiritual soul was exceptionally strong, making his cultivation of the soul division technique even more effective. Within just a month by Blue Star's reckoning, he had cultivated the soul division technique to the first level. That very day, he severed a strand of his soul. Subsequently, he activated the soul teleportation matrix of the psionic cube using 5 small spiritual stones. Chu Xian took another look at the psionic cube. Since Ma Nanshan's departure for the Soul Star, there had been a long silence, a stark contrast to his previous verbosity. Chu Xian had his suspicions but still wished to see for himself what lay on the other side. Let's see what this Soul Star is really like, Chu Xian muttered as he cast the severed strand of his soul into the matrix. Buzz. In an instant, the world spun wildly. His senses were bombarded by bizarre and chaotic visions. When his vision cleared, he found himself standing under a night sky. Looking around, the landscape was desolate and dark, hardly a place fit for human habitation. On closer inspection, the sky was not dark. It was actually teeming with writhing, wailing vengeful spirits and ghosts. Their numbers were so vast that they blotted out the sky, which had led Chu Xian to believe he was under a night sky. So many? Chu Xian was momentarily speechless. His myriad soul's banner, merely a high-grade magic tool, would struggle to contain such an enormous number of vengeful spirits and ghosts. Just then, Chu Xian felt a sudden headache. A vision of a shattered, blood-red mirror piece flashed through his mind. The tail has been illicitly lifted. Should you spot it on Amazon, report the violation. The blood mirror fragment. Chu Xian exclaimed, both shocked and elated. Another fool has come, a voice sounded from behind him. Before Chu Xian could turn around, a massive hand grasped at him. In an instant, it crushed the strand of his soul and tossed it into a gaping mouth, chewing casually. This soul is weak but delicious. That was the last thing Chu Xian heard before intense pain overtook him. Hiss. Rubbing his temples, Chu Xian noted the connection with that strand of his soul had been severed. It seems my suspicions were correct, he mused. That was no invitation from the Hall of Rectitude, but a trap. A dreadful trap designed to lure the strongest beings from other planets to offer up their souls. Chu Xian shook his head. Poor Ma Nanshan from Pegasus Star, he thought, probably already dead. His soul likely now served as sustenance for a more formidable being. cthnovelfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The soul strength of that creature from the Soul Star seems to be comparable to a foundation-building cultivator. For me, slicing off about 1/10 of my soul to send to the Soul Star should suffice to easily manipulate it. Chu Xian smiled faintly. However, why did my soul suddenly encounter the vision of the mirror fragment upon reaching the Soul Star? Could it be that the fragment is indeed on the Soul Star? Quite possible. It seemed a journey to the Soul Star was inevitable. However, he planned to make thorough preparations before departing. First, he needed to master the second level of the soul division technique. Second, he needed to acquire a better myriad soul's banner, at least a mid-grade magic treasure, to capture more stray spirits and ghosts. It seems I need to blast those Nether crocodiles first, then head to a gathering place of cultivators to acquire a better myriad soul's banner, Chu Xian resolved, settling down to continue condensing Yin Thunder seeds. 3 more years passed on Blue Star. The number of Yin Thunder seeds in Chu Xian's spiritual sea had reached 10,000. He suddenly stood up, his eyes filled with a chilling resolve. Time to bomb them all. In the western battlefield, the diminutive Nether crocodiles were ubiquitous. Thousands lay resting on the ground, indistinguishable from slender stones. Yet, only cultivators who had witnessed their ferocity knew that these stone-like creatures could transform into frenzied beasts at the slightest disturbance, mercilessly pursuing their prey. Suddenly, a streak of light burst forth from a hidden cave. In an instant, the Nether crocodiles, like people jolted from deep sleep, woke with a start, irritable and disturbed. Their fearsome, sharp maws swayed as they swarmed toward the fleeing light. Obstruct my path, and you court death. Chu Xian sneered, his mouth spewing forth beads of Yin thunder. Boom, boom, boom. Wherever he went, the Nether crocodiles were blasted into pieces. Black limbs and red flesh littered the ground, covering it completely. 100 Yin thunder seeds were not enough, then he would use 200. If 200 were insufficient, then 400, 800, even 1600, as long as he had enough Yin thunder. Boom, boom, boom. With Yin thunder clearing the way, Chu Xian advanced relentlessly. That woman's storage bag? His keen eyes and quick hands spotted a storage bag on the ground. Several months ago, he had been transported here via a battlefield token and had encountered a woman claiming to be a disciple of the Majestic Sword sect. Chu Xian casually took the storage bag and continued forward. Aren't some Nether crocodiles supposed to burst into blood crystals upon death? Why haven't I seen any? Chu Xian mused internally. The physical bodies of Nether crocodiles were extremely formidable. In some particularly powerful specimens, the vital essence could condense into blood crystals, a nourishing delicacy for body cultivators. Chu Xian wondered if these blood crystals could compare to the zombie flesh crafted from the psionic cube. Wait. Could it be that the overwhelming power of the Yin thunder had shattered even the blood crystals? After some time, Chu Xian finally discovered a blood crystal. With a sweep of his spiritual sense and a gesture, he drew it into his storage bag from afar. He collected 6 more as he proceeded. The number of Nether crocodiles ahead began to dwindle, perhaps sensing the deadly threat of the Yin thunder and choosing to avoid its edge. In any case, Chu Xian felt the pressure rapidly diminishing. Eventually, he blasted his way out of the Nether crocodile encirclement. There were no more obstacles around. Chu Xian heaved a sigh of relief and immediately set off towards the east. The extraterritorial battlefield had undergone significant transformations. Each opening event reshaped the landscape, turning mountains into valleys and gorges into plains. Entire areas would mysteriously vanish, yet cities built on solid ground remained steadfast, such as the Reincarnation Divine Church's Realm Tower, the Feather Transformation Heaven Palace's Feather Transformation City, and the Majestic Sword Sect's Majestic City, among others. Wan Wuing had informed him through the spiritual sense Jade slip that there were only 2 cities suitable for loose cultivators to enter. One was Lei Family City, controlled by the profound nascent soul family of the Lei clan, which welcomed all comers. The other was Righteous Dao City, managed by a newly ascended nascent soul cultivator and 2 false soul cultivators, claiming to be open only to cultivators of the righteous way, strictly forbidding demonic cultivators. Other cities were almost exclusively under the control of major sects like Feather Transformation Heaven Palace and Majestic Sword Sect and were not recommended for loose cultivators. Chu Xian had no intention of visiting those cities. Lei Family City seemed like a good choice. However, as he traveled, he realized he was lost. Surely this spiritual sense Jade slip is a 500-year-old map, he exclaimed. There's clearly no path ahead, just a dried-up massive trench. Chu Xian looked at the 1,000-zhang-wide gorge before him and laughed helplessly. The extraterritorial battlefield exerted a strong suppressive force on flying magic treasures, reducing their power by half. In Mystic Azure Star, Chu Xian could easily have flown across, but this was the treacherous extraterritorial battlefield. With such a wide chasm, who knew what demons and monsters lurked in its unfathomable depths? It was better not to fly unless absolutely necessary. Resolved to follow his instincts, Chu Xian decided to take a detour. This detour took him far away from Lei Family City and, ultimately, he arrived at Righteous Dao City. Search the nelfire.nt website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Chu Xian looked at the large sign over the city gate and smacked his lips. Righteous Dao City, it wasn't entirely off limits. With his accumulated virtue, anyone would give him a thumbs up in praise. Who would dare to suspect him of being a demonic cultivator? With this thought, Chu Xian strode confidently towards the city gate. At the entrance of Righteous Dao City, 2 cultivators at the early stage of the Golden Core guarded the left and right sides, while a middle-aged bald cultivator at the mid-stage of the Golden Core took charge of the registration process. A line of cultivators slowly made their way into the city. Those who met the criteria of Righteous Dao City were registered and issued entry tokens. Those who did not were naturally expelled. Cultivation method is righteous and balanced, approved. Next. Cultivation method is violent, disapproved. Next. Cultivation method is prolonged and gentle, approved. Next. Help support creative writers by finding and reading their stories on the original site. This cultivation method. Seductress technique, ahem, approved. Next. A curvaceous woman fluttered her eyelashes seductively at the middle-aged cultivator, who, swayed by her charm, swiftly marked her as approved. She's clearly a demonic cultivator, how can she pass? A female cultivator in line exclaimed in dissatisfaction upon seeing this. The middle-aged cultivator glanced over and saw the complaining woman was robust and burly. He scoffed, with such a formidable physique, you must practice demonic cultivation. Expel her. At once, the two early golden core cultivators stepped forward to remove her. I am not a demonic cultivator. I really am not. It's about to get dark, I need to enter the city, the woman protested. However, the cultivators of righteous Dao City were indifferent. They picked her up and threw her far from the city gates. Meanwhile, a squad of enforcement officers rushed out from within the city, glaring menacingly at everyone. The golden core cultivators in line lowered their heads and shrank back, unwilling to meet their gaze. Those with any ambition had gone to Lei Family City. Only those with no other options came to righteous Dao City. Of course, there were also those like Chu Xian who had lost their way and inexplicably ended up here. It's going to be dark soon, can we hurry it up? Another cultivator called out after a while. The middle-aged cultivator, noticing the gathering darkness on the horizon, hastened the registration process. However, verifying each cultivator's technique was time-consuming, and speed was not an option. Chu Xian watched the sluggish pace, shaking his head. He knew well that when darkness fell, a vast number of nether crocodiles would emerge from the ground. While he had eaten thunder seeds capable of blasting them open, using such a method in public would surely prevent his entry into righteous Dao City. I didn't want to use my special privileges. Chu Xian sighed, and suddenly, a golden wheel of merit rose behind his head. The wheel spun quietly, brilliantly dazzling. Faint auspicious light burst forth, fragrant and imbuing him with fortune, captivating all who saw it. The sudden burst of golden light from the wheel of merit immediately caught everyone's attention, including that of the middle-aged cultivator responsible for registration. He was astounded and quickly jogged over to Chu Xian, exclaiming, with such immense virtue, Master, why didn't you say so sooner? My name is Duan Quebec. Please, Master, follow me. The gates of righteous Dao City are always open for you, he said, gesturing for Chu Xian to follow. Chu Xian smiled faintly and walked with confident strides. Some cultivators in the line, confused, began to shout. Why does he get to cut the line? Yeah, why? Just because he has a glow behind his head? A few bold ones even tried to follow Chu Xian into the city. Duan K scoffed, this master's virtue is boundless. How can you compare? Enforcement team, stop them, he commanded. The cultivators of the enforcement team sprang into action, stopping the others from following and causing them to stumble backward. Chu Xian entered righteous Dao City with ease as Duan K spoke to the guards at the gate, you two take over the registration, I will accompany the master for a while. He then turned to Chu Xian with a smile plastered across his face. Fellow Daoist possesses such merit. You must have saved many mortals. Chu Xian nodded, I hail from the southern wilderness of mystic Azure Star, from the Golden Dragon Temples, and my Dharma name is Huikong. It's just some minor deeds of merit, hardly worth mentioning. Duan K bowed even deeper, realizing he was in the presence of a high monk. Oh, it's a high monk. My apologies for any disrespect. Fellow Daoist Huikong, please follow me. Such a person as yourself has been specifically mentioned by the three seniors, we must treat you with the highest respect. You may choose any third-tier cave dwelling for free, without any charge of spirit stones, for 5 years. Chu Xian smiled and nodded, please convey my thanks to the three seniors. At that moment, he looked towards the sky. The light that had lingered there was now being engulfed by darkness. The gates of righteous Dao City creaked as they closed slowly but firmly. The guards at the gate and the members of the enforcement team promptly returned inside. Those who had not completed their registration or had been identified as demonic cultivators and denied entry were left outside. Some tried to storm the gate but were easily shot down by the enforcement team on the city walls. Soon, a horde of nether crocodiles swarmed from the caverns below. Screams filled the air outside, but the cultivators inside the city seemed indifferent as if such horrors were all too common. Chu Xian pressed his palms together, Dragon Buddha above, I cannot bear to witness such a dreadful sight. Let us proceed, Benefactor Duan. Duan K nodded vigorously, I, too, cannot bear to see death. Let us move on swiftly. Righteous Dao City was rather simplistic, consisting only of two main avenues running north-south and east-west, with only customary small paths in between. Many areas lacked proper housing, featuring merely makeshift shacks. At first glance, one might think it was an encampment for chi refining cultivators outside the treasure ship market. It was hard to imagine golden core cultivators, who dominated their respective planets, tolerating such modest conditions. But considering that the weakest realm in the extraterritorial battlefield was the golden core phase, it seemed less surprising. Duan Ke pointed ahead to a mountain and smiled, "Fellow Taoist Huikong, that is Righteous Tao Mountain. The three seniors reside in the topmost fourth-tier cave dwellings. From the bottom up, there are first, second, and third-tier dwellings. The higher you go, the richer the spiritual chi," he continued. These dwellings correspond to the early, middle, and late phases of the golden core respectively. A first-tier dwelling costs 120 small spiritual stones or 1 medium spiritual stone per year. The price doubles for the second tier, and doubles again for the third tier. Chu Xian chanted a Buddhist name again. "I did not expect to receive such treatment on my first visit to Righteous Tao City. Dragon Buddha above, the three seniors are truly benevolent." Duan Ke remarked with emotion, "My partner and I only reside in a second-tier dwelling. We have never experienced the spiritual chi of a third-tier dwelling." He looked at Chu Xian with evident envy. Soon, Duan Ke arranged everything for Chu Xian. The three seniors are currently in seclusion. Right now, the heads of the three great families take turns managing the city and its affairs. "You must be weary from your long journey to Righteous Tao City. Rest for now," Duan Ke advised. "In a few days, when the head of the Duan family is available, I will come to invite you to meet the leaders of the three great families of Righteous Tao City. I can assure you, with your strength and virtue, just a nod from you, and you could become an honorary elder of our Duan family. You should know, the Duan family is the strongest of the three, a true nascent soul family, while the other two are merely false soul families. As an honorary elder of the Duan family, not only will your actions in Righteous Tao City become much easier, but even if you go to Majestic City or Feather Transformation City, you will be treated with great respect." As he was leaving, Duan Ke respectfully handed over a communication jade. "Fellow Taoist Huikong, this is my communication jade. If you have any needs, just let me know." Chu Xian smiled, "Thank you, fellow Taoist Duan." Boom. The stone door of the cave dwelling closed heavily. Chu Xian murmured a Buddhist chant. "This dwelling is quite nice, indeed to my liking. Dragon Buddha above, I thank the three seniors for their generosity. The tail has been illicitly lifted. Should you spot it on Amazon, report the violation." He then took several sets of formations from his storage bag and, in the blink of an eye, had the dwelling perfectly arranged. Chu Xian, although reassured by the array of formations like spirit gathering and soundproofing already in place in the third-tier cave dwelling, didn't quite trust others to ensure his safety. He had to lay out his own arrangements, because who knew if Righteous Tao City had installed any backdoors in the dwellings? Much more comfortable now, he murmured to himself as he finished setting up his additional protections. With a slight grin, he mused, "Huikong, oh Huikong, borrowing your identity shouldn't upset you, right?" Search * the novel, F.ir.at website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Casually, Chu Xian summoned the evil soul chain, and following its manifestation, the soul of Huikong appeared, standing obediently before him. Upon hearing Chu Xian's words, the soul scratched its head in confusion. "What Huikong? Am I called Huikong? I'm not though." Reflecting on Duan Ke's earlier attentiveness and warmth, Chu Xian considered the implications. "I knew the extraterritorial battlefield valued merit, but I didn't realize just how useful it could be. Just showing a single layer of the merit will garnered such a warm reception. If I revealed 3 layers?" He shook his head vigorously. "That would paint a huge target on my back. No, that won't do." Showing restraint was essential. A 3-layer merit wheel, indicative of saving countless lives, was a blessing from the heavenly Tao typically reserved for humanity's saviors. Not even a great cultivator at the nascent soul or astral projection stages might achieve such a feat, let alone a mere golden core cultivator like himself. If he were to display such a wheel, he might end up a subject of relentless study by the powerful. The reasons for the battlefield's emphasis on merit were not detailed in the Jade slip provided by Wan Wuying, only mentioning that spatial rifts, dangerous and lethal to many cultivators, appeared less frequently around those imbued with merit. Cities with many meritorious cultivators also saw fewer spatial rifts around them, explaining why Righteous Dao City was quick to expel demonic cultivators. A single malevolent presence could disrupt the city's collective merit, inviting disasters. Merit seemed to have other, less understood benefits, beyond the scope of what could be learned from available texts. Duan K's eagerness clearly aims to recruit me on behalf of the Duan family, Chu Xian thought. This is expected. Anyone like me, endowed with such merit, could significantly bolster any family within Righteous Dao City if I joined them. Joining the Duan family isn't a bad idea. To me, all three families are much the same. With my level of merit, not too high nor too low, it's unlikely many would go out of their way to target me. This could be a good opportunity to gather materials for crafting magic treasures. Chu Xian mulled over his plan to craft the sky-shielding umbrella, a demonic treasure similar to the myriad souls banner in its function of harnessing souls to nourish fierce ghosts. Of course, the sky-shielding umbrella could accommodate an even greater number of aggrieved spirits and fierce ghosts, easily surpassing hundreds of millions. This type of umbrella was a widely known demonic treasure, and its crafting method was readily available, especially to someone like Chu Xian who was a prominent figure in the Infinite sect. To craft the sky-shielding umbrella, only two materials were essential. The hide of a golden core stage demonic beast, the thicker and larger, the better, as it would serve as the main fabric of the umbrella. Soul bamboo used for the ribs and handle of the umbrella. Soul bamboo is as thick as a thumb and grows by absorbing the souls of the dead. The bamboo reaches 3 inches if it absorbs the souls of 1,000 ghost soldiers, 6 inches for 10,000 ghost soldiers, and 9 inches for 100,000 ghost soldiers. While it could grow further by absorbing more powerful spirits like ghost generals, the cost-effectiveness for using such advanced soul bamboo in the umbrella decreases. For Chu Xian, 9-inch soul bamboo would suffice. He considered the acquisition of these materials. The hide of a golden core demonic beast. I just need to put out the word, and people will gather it for me without me having to spend time on it. As for the soul bamboo. Chapter 178, What's wrong with a high Buddhist monk using a string of purple jade beads? Plus, turn off reset. Chu Xian chuckled lightly, then with a flicker, he arrived at Blue Star. It had vast numbers of zombies in the wild. Slaying through the hordes would quickly amass hundreds of thousands of souls driven by hunger. These souls would battle each other, and the survivors would ascend as ghost soldiers. Within less than a day, Chu Xian had accomplished his task, capturing 400,000 souls within his grand soul banner. All that remained was to wait for ghost soldiers to emerge from these souls. Several days passed. Chu Xian scanned with his spiritual sense, nodding in satisfaction. It was done. His efforts had yielded 150,000 ghost soldiers, ample for nurturing a soul bamboo to 9 inches. Near a zombie farm, Chu Xian found a small mound and buried a bamboo shoot there. His storage bag was already filled with similar spiritual plants like soul bamboo, ready for use whenever needed. As for the growing environment, true powerhouses never complained about their surroundings. Even in a barren desert devoid of moisture, as long as there were enough ghostly souls, soul bamboo could stubbornly sprout and grow. Chu Xian casually extracted a ghost soldier from the grand soul banner. His spiritual sense formed a piercing needle, and with a casual stab, he threw it toward the bamboo shoot. He repeated this process with 5 ghost soldiers in total. The bamboo shoot began to stir, taking root and sprouting. A young bamboo of a dark purple hue grew at a visible rate. Chu Xian smiled faintly, continuing to feed the soul bamboo with ghost soldiers. After 20 or so were thrown, the leaves of the bamboo began to morph, resembling gaping maws full of sharp teeth. Once soul bamboo reached this stage, it no longer needed deliberate feeding. As long as ghostly souls were nearby, it would hunt on its own. Sure enough, as soon as Chu Xian threw another ghost soldier towards it, the surrounding leaves, snake-like, fixed their gaze on it. They snapped viciously, and in the blink of an eye, the ghost soldier was shredded into pieces, its essence absorbed as nutrients by the Een Soul bamboo. Pleased with the progress, Chu Xian nodded in satisfaction. He then summoned Bao from the corpse-nurturing tower, for another task or further cultivation activities, continuing his preparations for creating the sky-shielding umbrella. Having settled Bao with the task of feeding the Een Soul bamboo, Chu Xian's attention now turned back to other matters. He returned to the rooftop of the Haotai Hotel on Blue Star. There, he had yet to explore the storage bag of the majestic sword sect female disciple he had encountered. For safety, he had chosen to open it on Blue Star. A direct disciple of a nascent soul cultivator, perhaps there might be a small surprise inside, Chu Xian mused as he prepared to delve into the contents of the storage bag. Rubbing his hands together, he first wiped away the spiritual imprint on the bag before opening it. Instantly, a small sort of spiritual sense flew out, aiming straight for Chu Xian's mind with a sharp whistle. Chu Xian's expression shifted slightly, and with a low shout, his own spiritual sense quickly condensed into a piercing needle to counter the attack. Support the creativity of authors by visiting Royal Road for this novel and more. Clang! The spiritual sword clashed against the piercing needle. For a moment, the two forces were locked in a standstill, then suddenly the spiritual sword exploded into fragments. The invisible shockwave of spiritual sense swept outwards, instantly killing any small insects hiding in nearby crevices. Chu Xian frowned. Thankfully, my spiritual sense is strong enough. Another golden core cultivator might have fallen for this trap. Shangguan held the flying dragon sword, this must be his safeguard left in the disciple's storage bag, Chu Xian huffed. The disciple was devoured by a demonic beast, and I kindly took the storage bag to prevent the treasures from being lost. And yet, this is how it repays me. Utterly ungrateful. Now more cautious, Chu Xian probed the storage bag more thoroughly with his spiritual sense. So many medium spiritual stones? This certainly solves my immediate needs. There were at least 800 medium spiritual stones, equivalent to 80,000 small spiritual stones. Surprisingly, there were only about 1,000 small spiritual stones. Aside from the spirit stones, there were two magic treasures inside the bag. One was the evil suppressing sword, a mid-grade magic treasure with offensive and flight capabilities. The other was a string of purple jade beads necklace, a mid-grade magic treasure with offensive, defensive, and detoxification properties. The evil suppressing sword, designed to suppress evil spirits and demons, was obviously unusable for Chu Xian, who employed such beings himself. Using it would only harm his corpse puppet and ghost followers. Given that the majestic sword sect specialized in sword techniques, using the evil suppressing sword would make it easy for members of the sect to recognize and potentially track him. However, the string of 16 purple jade beads presented an opportunity. If he recrafted and altered their appearance, they could be useful. From a distance, they looked like ordinary beads, up close, they were clearly prayer beads. What's wrong with a high monk like myself using a string of purple jade prayer beads? Chu Xian mused. Chu Xian continued his search within the storage bag and discovered numerous spiritual sense jade slips from the majestic sword sect, all containing cultivation techniques. There were 6 methods suitable for golden core cultivators and even 2 for nascent soul cultivators. Search the novel, fire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Shangguan Hao really spared no effort in training his disciple, Chu Xian mused, impressed by the range of powerful techniques stored within the bag. Since these techniques were of no use to him personally, he planned to assume another identity to trade them later. This is a jade slip with a map of the extraterritorial battlefield? Excellent, he exclaimed, pleased with the find. His interest peaked as he stumbled upon a unique jade slip detailing a method of nascent soul formation. Mixed essence sword soul technique, a high-grade method for forming a nascent soul. He read aloud. It's of no use to me. Why didn't they prepare some nascent soul techniques suitable for me? Shaking his head in mild frustration, Chu Xian turned the storage bag inside out to make sure nothing was missed. Then, he began the process of consecrating the purple jade beads necklace. As he prepared to erase the spiritual marks with his powerful spiritual sense, he heard an indistinct roar coming from within the beads. It sounded like an angry rant or question, but the specifics were unintelligible. Perhaps it's a remnant will left by Shangguan Hao in the magic treasure, he pondered. To give a magic treasure to a female disciple but leave his own remnant will in it, intriguing. Meanwhile, in Majestic City, Shangguan Hao retracted his nascent soul, his face ashen with fury. He had discovered that the murderer of Ning Yurong was attempting to consecrate the purple jade beads necklace. Immediately, he projected his nascent soul, hoping to use the remnant will left on the beads to mark the murderer remotely, a trick to help him track the murderer later. However, what shocked him was the vast distance, both metaphorical and literal, between him and the murderer. He couldn't discern any details about the other's true identity or location. When the remnant will on the beads completely dissipated, he lost all means to determine the murderer's whereabouts, which enraged him even further. Damned be! Where is he exactly? He roared. He must be somewhere in the extraterritorial battlefield. It can't be anywhere else. I've even utilized the essence of my nascent soul, why can't I find him? Since his favorite disciple, Ning Yurong, fell on this battlefield in the western region, Shangguan Hao had been restless, haunted by her loss. Nobody knew how much effort Shangguan Hao had invested in his female disciple, Ning Yurong. He had provided her with the best spiritual resources, magic treasures, and cultivation methods available. Everything of the highest quality had been given to her, and she had understood the significance of his actions. Ning Yurong practiced a seductive demonic technique and was adept in the arts of charm and intimacy. The two had extensively explored the profound pathways of dual cultivation. Through Ning Yurong, Shangguan Hao experienced a unique flavor of companionship quite distinct from that with his other partners, which made him value her highly. He could not accept Ning Yurong's death. Who exactly is this He Liang? Shangguan Hao pondered, his fists clenched and eyes bloodshot from rage. My majestic sword sect has destroyed many sects, which one did he belong to? He was determined to use all his resources to find He Liang and make him understand the pain of losing a loved one. Shangguan Hao, come here immediately and start the pill concoction. A woman's dissatisfied growl came from the pill concoction chamber. If you're even a breath late, I'll whip you 10 times. Shangguan Hao's face, twisted with rage, instantly softened into a smile. Little Xianxia, I'm coming, don't be mad. In righteous Dao City, within the Duan family's estate. Third uncle, the monk Huikong from Golden Dragon Temple possesses great merit. He should be the one we recruit, urged Duan Quebec. Didn't you agree 2 days ago to offer him a position in the Duan family? Why have you changed your mind now? He asked anxiously. Duan Song, the head of the Duan family, frowned deeply and said in a grave tone, yesterday, a high monk from Celestial Sound Zen Temple visited our family. Celestial Sound Zen Temple from the Holy Sound Star? Duan K was taken aback. Duan Song nodded. Exactly. You should know the prohibitions of Celestial Sound Zen Temple. Duan K sighed deeply. I know. Celestial Sound Zen Temple reveres only human Buddhas. As for Dragon Buddha, like those from Golden Dragon Temple, they don't even recognize them. Not being recognized was putting it mildly. In the eyes of the monks from Celestial Sound Zen Temple, heretics were even more detestable than adherents of other faiths. If monks from Celestial Sound Zen Temple and Golden Dragon Temple were to meet, a fight would likely break out without a word. Duan Song continued calmly, Celestial Sound Zen Temple is the absolute ruler of Holy Sound Star. Master Yuan Ming, a late-stage golden core cultivator who also practices physical cultivation, is among them. He also possesses a layer of the merit wheel. His spiritual root is an earth-grade metal spiritual root. Golden Dragon Temple, I've never heard of it before. It must be just a small force on Mystic Azure Star. Between the two, whom we should choose needs no further discussion, does it? Duan K sighed deeply, I understand now, family head. It was my oversight. However, I've already made the offer that he could join our Duan family with just a nod from him. A bitter smile formed on his face. Duan Song patted him on the shoulder. It's not entirely your fault. I also did not expect that a high monk from Celestial Sound Zen Temple would seek to join our Duan family. Support the author by searching for the original publication of this novel. Family head, won't you reconsider? I can sense that Hui Kong is truly extraordinary, Duan Ke pressed earnestly. Unable to resist his urging any longer, Duan Song finally said, very well, bring him here tomorrow, and I will assess his spiritual root with the magic treasure bestowed by our ancestors. If his strength and talent surpass those of Yuan Ming from Celestial Sound Zen Temple, I will dismiss Yuan Ming without a second thought and take Hui Kong as an honorary elder of our Duan family. How does that sound? Duan Ke nodded vigorously. That would be excellent. Chu Xian, sensing a visitor outside his cultivation chamber, promptly ceased his meditation. A voice transmitted through the formation outside said, fellow Taoist Hui Kong, this is Duan Quebec. Chu Xian then opened the gate of his dwelling. Standing before him was the bald middle-aged cultivator, Duan Ke, who presented him with a storage bag, saying with a smile, fellow Taoist Hui Kong, I procured the golden core stage demonic beast hide you required. Chu Xian received it and swept his spiritual sense over it, instantly surprised. This is the hide of a flying squirrel, a complete hide that can sell for 8,000 small spiritual stones. How did you manage to obtain it, benefactor Duan? Duan Ke laughed heartily. After all, I am a cultivator of the Duan family, I do have certain privileges. This flying squirrel's hide can be yours for just 7,000 small spiritual stones. Chu Xian nodded slightly and tossed over a storage bag. Duan Ke caught it without looking and said, please, come with me. Our family head is currently free and has been very curious about you, given your great merit. Chu Xian nodded. I too am eager to see the esteemed family head of the Duan family. The Duan family estate was located in the eastern district of Righteous Dao City, which was not very large. Led by Duan Ke, Chu Xian walked only 1,000 steps before they arrived. The estate itself was not very large. After all, the real Duan family resided on their original cultivation star. The purpose of this estate was primarily to receive guests. As Chu Xian was about to enter the main hall, he suddenly noticed a copper mirror hanging above the entrance. At first glance, the mirror seemed ordinary, yet it appeared to possess the ability to peer into the depths of those it reflected. Chu Xian frowned slightly and immediately cloaked his presence, his turtle breath technique allowing him to easily conceal his cultivation level and physical condition. As for his spiritual root and merit, the former could only be detected by probing with spiritual qi, and the latter would only be apparent if he chose to reveal it himself. Why does the Duan family wish to scrutinize me? Chu Xian frowned, disliking this invasive approach to probing guests. SAR the Novel Fire, the net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Shortly thereafter, Chu Xian and Duan Ke were ushered into the main hall to meet the family head, Duan Song. With just one glance, Chu Xian discerned that this man's cultivation level was higher than his own, likely at least at the 9th level of the Golden Core stage. However, he had not cultivated his physical body. In terms of strength, Chu Xian was confident he could overpower the head of the Duan family, though not necessarily kill him. For Chu Xian, an opponent he could defeat but not kill was not worth fighting. Duan Song greeted him enthusiastically. Is this fellow Taoist Hui Kong? Truly a man of great merit and fortune. One can see his grand aura at a glance. Chu Xian responded modestly, you flatter me, lord of the city. I merely strive to contribute a modest effort for the welfare of the common folk. Duan Ke stood respectfully to the side, remaining silent. Chu Xian smiled and inquired, I wonder, family head Duan, what is the purpose of inviting me here today? Duan Song smiled back. Our Duan family has always enjoyed making connections with heroes from all walks of life. Even if we do not become friends, forging a good relationship is still valuable. Fellow Taoist Hui Kong, you must have come to the extraterritorial battlefield in search of opportunities, correct? My family has collected several unique Buddhist cultivation methods. If you are interested, you may choose any one of them. Duan Song continued, rest assured, fellow Daoist Huikong, there will be no charge. Consider it an investment by the Duan family in you. Chu Xian's eyebrows rose. Such generosity? He wasn't one to pass up an advantageous offer without a reason. His own body-protecting golden will decree was merely a foundation establishment stage technique and was quite outdated. Now that family head Duan was offering golden core stage cultivation methods, it felt as if he was being offered a pillow as he was about to sleep. Such a generous offer from family head Duan cannot be declined without appearing ungrateful, Chu Xian said, bringing his palms together and chanting a Buddhist mantra. Duan K, please lead fellow Daoist Huikong, Duan Song instructed. Yes, Duan K responded, ready to guide Chu Xian to the archives where the cultivation methods were kept. Chapter 180, The Most Expensive Things Come for Free Plus, Turn Off Reset. In a side hall of the Duan family estate, rows of bookshelves stood, each laden with some cultivation methods. Since this was not the core repository of the family, the selection of cultivation manuals was limited. Yet, each tome was of at least the golden core stage. Duan K led Chu Xian to a set of shelves. Fellow Daoist Huikong, here are several Buddhist cultivation methods collected by our Duan family. You can rest assured, practicing these methods will not draw the ire of any sections. Chu Xian nodded with a smile. Many cultivation methods were closely guarded secrets within their respective sections. Should these secrets be leaked, the original sect would likely exact furious retribution. However, there were also common techniques, or partial methods that could not be fully practiced without further instructions from the sect. Such dissemination was inconsequential and often forced cultivators of these methods to seek tutelage under these sects to learn the complete technique. As the saying goes, the most expensive things come for free, a truth Chu Xian was well acquainted with. His gaze swept over 3 mid-tier golden core stage methods available to him. 1. Gilded Lotus Seal. Minor accomplishments allowed the cultivator to form a protective golden lotus, while major accomplishments could condense a glistening glass-like armor, making it a versatile offensive and defensive technique. 2. Heartfire Karma Sutra. This method transformed merit into karmic power to unleash boundless karmic flames against enemies, boasting formidable strength. 3. Mahayana Swift Escape. This technique specialized in escape and evasion. Ordinary in offense and defense, but if one expended merit, the speed could be enhanced to rival that of a nascent infant stage cultivator. Truthfully, it was a difficult choice. All 3 methods were mid-tier golden core techniques and considerably effective, not just filler among golden core techniques. Moreover, upon reviewing them briefly, Chu Xian noted that while none of these methods could elevate his cultivation to the 9th level of the nascent soul, each could definitely advance him to the 9th level of the golden core. For the time being, this was sufficient. Once he reached the nascent soul stage, he could always search for new methods. I shall choose the Mahayana Swift Escape, Chu Xian decided after much contemplation, selecting the technique specializing in evasion that best suited his needs for the golden core stage. Duan K was somewhat surprised. He had expected Chu Xian to choose the Gilded Lotus Seal, but instead, Chu Xian opted for the Mahayana Swift Escape, a technique that consumed merit to significantly enhance evasion capabilities. Wasn't merit considered incredibly precious? Many golden core cultivators strived desperately to accumulate it, hoping to weaken the heavenly tribulations they would face when attempting to form their nascent soul. Yet, Huikong seemed to regard his own merit as something to be expended freely. Facing Duan K's puzzled look, Chu Xian merely smiled. Merit, to him, was just something he had in abundance, enough for his needs. The Mahayana Swift Escape, after consuming merit, could enhance his evasion to levels comparable to a nascent infant cultivator. For him, this was what mattered most. Even if he couldn't defeat a nascent infant cultivator, he could at least escape from one. Help support creative writers by finding and reading their stories on the original site. It's settled then, Chu Xian nodded. Seeing his decision, Duan K didn't press further. At that moment, he received a message from Duan Song. From his bone age, this person is nearly 300 years old, not quite exceptional. His cultivation is only at the early stage of the golden core, albeit with physical cultivation as well. But compared to Yuan Ming from Celestial Sound Zen Temple, he falls short. Duan Ke sighed quietly. Had he misjudged the situation? From a young age, he possessed a talent for recognizing potential. Several overlooked talents within the Duan family had risen through the ranks due to his discernment, even nearing his own level of accomplishment over time. Chu Xian casually asked, "Fellow Taoist Duan, is there a problem with my joining the Duan family?" Duan Ke gave an awkward smile. "You guessed it?" Chu Xian just chuckled. In a low voice, Duan Ke explained the situation with Yuan Ming from Celestial Sound Zen Temple. Celestial Sound Zen Temple does not favor the worship of unusual Buddhas, and your Golden Dragon Temple venerates the Dragon Buddha, so. Duan Ke looked troubled. Chu Xian waved his hand dismissively. "It's fine. I never planned on joining any faction when I came to Righteous Dao City." With those words, Chu Xian strode confidently toward the exit of the Duan estate. Duan Ke started to follow, but Chu Xian waved him off without turning back. "No need to see me out." Reluctantly, Duan Ke stopped. Duan Song, who had silently approached during the conversation, spoke calmly. "We have given him a mid-tier golden core technique, which is respectful enough. Let us not dwell on this matter any further and focus on awaiting the unearthed treasures." Duan Ke sighed deeply. "Yes." Chu Xian was about to return to his cave dwelling when he noticed 3 cultivators approaching from a distance, also heading to their respective dwellings. Their abodes were adjacent to his. As they noticed Chu Xian, a look of surprise crossed their faces. The fair-faced cultivator bowed with a smile. "Are you the revered monk Huikong who recently arrived in Righteous Dao City? A pleasure to meet you. I am Xiaofeng Xian, a golden core stage talisman master." The couple beside him also greeted him. "We've heard of you, fellow Daoist Huikong. I am Lu Zhua, and this is my Dao companion, Jin Chan." Chu Xian nodded. "Indeed, I am Huikong." Xiaofeng Xian continued with a smile. "I heard that the Duan family intends to take you as an honorary elder. I have also received an invitation from the Duan family. Should the opportunity arise, I would be pleased to collaborate with you, fellow Daoist." Lu Zhua and Jin Chan also expressed their interest. "Although we are not honorary elders of the Duan family, we hope to collaborate with you too, fellow Daoist Huikong." Chu Xian merely smiled and waved his hand before entering his own dwelling. These 3 were likely unaware that the Duan family had not truly accepted him as an honorary elder. Seeing Chu Xian's dismissive departure, Xiaofeng Xian's face twitched with embarrassment, but he said nothing. Lu Zhua muttered quietly, "This Huikong seems somewhat aloof, perhaps feeling superior now that he's associated with the Duan family." "Let's not speak ill behind his back," Jin Chan chided, shaking her head as they entered their dwelling. Xiaofeng Xian bowed to them and lingered his gaze on Jin Chan for a moment before returning to his dwelling. Several days later, the news that Tianyin Zen Temple's Yuan Ming and Golden Core Talisman Master Xiaofeng Xian had both become honorary elders of the Duan family spread rapidly. The Duan family, being the most powerful in Righteous Dao City, provided significant privileges to their honorary elders. Many cultivators were envious of Yuan Ming and Xiaofeng Xian. In contrast, despite his close interactions with Duan Ke, Huikong did not become an honorary elder, which became a subject of quiet ridicule among other cultivators. Even the other 2 major families in Righteous Dao City, the Bai family and the Qin family, showed no interest in inviting Huikong, likely due to Tianyin Zen Temple's well-known exclusivity and the potential risk of offending Yuan Ming by associating with Huikong. During this period, only Duan Ke visited Chu Xian several times to exchange information about the extraterritorial battlefield. He also hinted that the increased numbers of Nether crocodiles were a sign of an impending emergence of a treasure, an opportunity that might arise anywhere between 3 to 10 years, advising Chu Xian to stay alert. Success. My life-bound magic treasure, the sky-shielding umbrella, is finally complete. Xianxia the novel, ir.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Chu Xian looked at the large umbrella radiating an aura of chilling darkness in his hands, a smile crossing his face. With ample ghost soldiers to feed the 9-inch soul bamboo, and his superb artifact refining skills, along with a modest amount of merit used in the process, crafting the sky-shielding umbrella had been almost effortless. Now that the treasure's emergence might take at least 3 years, it was time for him to venture to the Soul Star,